Well, I say every day. It's a getting closer to taking a bath with my fucking toaster.
We're not qualified.
Who are you?
Explorers in the further regions of experience.
I understand. Did you not listen? Then the hell with you.
Greetings, salutations, and welcome to the 112th episode of Screaming Into the Void, the show where we talk about whatever the hell we feel like. My name is Samuel the Infamous, and joining me are my co-hosts, green-haired anti-liberal.
Hello, how's it going?
It's it's going, and Caucasian Sasquatch.
And scene. Welcome to the world of infamy.
MC.
And scene.
Yeah. Welcome in, and welcome to everybody who's coming in to chat. As we move along, we will be greeting you, and as best we can. There's kind of a lot to talk about. It's been a busy week in the news. So might say explosive, you know, and especially if you're a Syrian member of Hezbollah. I'm going to be making a lot of poor taste jokes today. Fair warning. I will be making a lot of poor taste jokes. However, do not take that as like my actual feelings on the matter, because I'm actually kind of not cool with what happened. But it is
so funny.
Yeah, like you can still, dark humor is a thing. Dark humor helps us cope sometimes. And, there's some really ugly shit that happened this week. And we're going to talk about some of it and some other stuff and some other stuff still. Assuming we get to all the topics, because as regulars of the show know, we tend to get off topic and then get into some really weird shit, which is how we end up with things like Jizz Men from Space.
Jizz Man from Space. I'm sorry, I love it.
Yes. I know. I kind of count on you doing that every time I mention it.
I would apologize, but I'm not one of those types of creatures.
Yeah. It is what it is. So anywho, we are currently live on my YouTube channel, Samuel the Infamous. We are live on Caucasian Sasquatch's YouTube channel, Caucasian Sasquatch. Also on my Rumble, also Samuel the Infamous, and my Twix hentai surprise. It is what it is. I'm not explaining that anymore. I'm just moving past it.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. So yeah, as we're coming in, we're gonna greet some people here who are showing up in the chat. We got Beak first. Hello, Beak. We've got Caucasian Sasquatch is with us. I think Suka might have been actually first, but it's not showing up here on the thing. So
it's first on my side. I've been here for a minute.
Yeah. I've had to reset my computer a couple of times already today. So, but I think I saw Suka on there earlier today at some point. So yeah, I think Suka was actually first, but not that it matters. It only really matters to Larry. Let's be honest.
Hey, green-haired liberal, what are you thinking right now?
I'm trying to figure out why there's no like button on your stream.
See, here's the thing. Because she doesn't have an internal monologue, she can't tell me what she's thinking. She can only tell me what she's looking at thinking about.
Well, that's what I'm thinking about, because that's what I'm doing.
Most people would say something along the lines, well, I was just wondering, or it occurred to me, but you state that you are actively thinking about a thing because that's what you're doing. I get it.
Okay. But why can't I like your, there's no like or dislike button on your stream. There is for Sam, but not for you on my computer.
Oh, that's weird. Let me look. That is strange. I don't know why that would be. Let's see. I love that fucking thumbnail, buddy. That's great. No, I got a like and dislike button on his stream.
I'm opening it in a new tab to see if it's something to do with my tab.
It shows me a like button, but then again, I'm the channel holder, so it would.
Yeah.
It doesn't like that current tab, apparently.
Oh, dude, I was actually going to use a totally different thumbnail. I'd loaded it up and everything, and then I glanced over and noticed that one and looked at the one I'd chosen, which was Sasquatch on a raft beating a squid. It was like, Ark fighting a squid? Hell yeah!
Yeah. Did you ever see that? I'll get back to the chat here in just a second. But did you ever see that old meme where it was just Batman riding a shark with a lightsaber in his hand? And it was like the most metal badass testosterone laden image I have ever seen in my life.
Well, I mean, we could have put a laser on the shark. You know, I'm plotting to do that, right?
Right.
No, I'm dead serious.
No,
Flow State has started a moon laser project. He's got a donation scheme set up so that he can prove that the Earth is round by bouncing a laser off the moon, or at least prove the moon is real, or something. I don't know. It is
like a Type 4 laser.
I sent him some Facebook Marketplace lasers that would do the job. But after he gets done, I get to put them on sharks.
Oh, fair enough. That's why I ask, because like depending on what he does for a living, he may have access to a Type 4 laser, but you have to be either in education or actually like a scientist in order to get access to those, because they're some of the more powerful lasers on the market that are not weaponized.
Right. Well, these are technically non-weaponized Type 3 to Type 4. They're transitional. They're like CO2 cool lasers and stuff, you know. They're probably enough to pop a tire, but you know, you'd be able to move before it did you any real damage.
You know, one of my brothers has a flashlight that he paid something like $300 for, and it is not a laser, but it is powerful enough to start fires.
Yeah, no, there's no point in owning anything like that. The problem with that type of stuff,
I disagree.
I hear what you're saying, but if you try to use it like a normal flashlight and carry it in normal environments, inevitably you will drop that thing in your seat crack, under your seat, behind your seat, and it'll turn on, and then you're cooking your freaking gas tank through the sidewall, and you don't realize it. For like 20 minutes, you're like, "What's that smell?" Next thing you know, you're in a blazing goddamn inferno. What do you do now, bro?
Right. So on that note, we have Andy Pickle with us. Hello.
What's up, Andy?
We got a fan one of one. Welcome.
I've seen.
Let's see, I got Anarchy Television here. Hello. Yeah, we got Capitano's in with us today. Bottom of the barrel of the bottle, Virgil. Good to see you again. Are we like a group or something? No, we're a bunch of disparate YouTubers who are kind of incestuous. Like that, you know, every YouTuber has like a circle of people
just because
they work with regularly.
You can jump to conclusions. That's inappropriate and wrong, and I'm offended.
I said us. So, but anyway, yeah, that's the thing, is like we all kind of we all kind of know the same people. There's some networking involved. The circle does expand from time to time, but for the most part, yeah, a lot of us work with the same people on various shows. So yeah, it's not like an official like group or whatever, but yeah.
You make us sound like a freaking band or something.
It's a boy band, kind of.
Yeah, we're kind of like a boy band, but you know, less gay and not corporately owned. Yeah. So we've got Cryptic Unicorn with us. Hello, welcome in. Like, how do you become a YouTuber? You just you just start doing it. You know, you use your phone or your computer or whatever, and you just put some shit out there.
Right? You start putting up videos of flowers and cats. I advise cats. That does very well.
It does bring in views.
Then you have to make content of some sort, because there's only so many cats in the neighborhoods now that the Haitians have showed up. And then at some point after you start making some content on a regular basis, some random person in your life will bring you a ring light When you get that ring light, it is official. You are a YouTuber.
Yeah.
You found the cat.
So the way it's been explained to me is that if this guy up here shows up in your chat, you've made it on YouTube.
I've heard that as well. That was told to me a couple
You're who
times.
told me that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't expect him to remember everything. Jeez.
Right. So welcome into the show. Hopefully we are entertaining enough to capture your attention for the next couple hours or so. We do have some things to talk about. Like I said at the top of the show, that there has been some developments this week in the world that just proves what I've been saying all along, that we've gotten progressively crazier as a species since 2012. And I personally I blame the Hadron Collider, but it is what it is.
Fluoride and chemtrails. And
I'm sure that contributed to it, but like the whole thing just like turned on a dime in 2012, right after CERN did its thing, and then they turned it on again in 2018, and it's like, shit's
I'm
just
sure
gotten
that's
crazy.
Related. That has nothing to do with the Mandela effect or any of the timeline changes or anything else. Nothing.
I blame them for the Berenstein
black
Bear.
holes on Earth doesn't do anything.
I don't understand. It's the stupid Mandela effect. It's Bernstein Bears. I don't.
Yeah.
So fair warning.
So,
my computer's doing the glitchy shit where it's fixing to melt down, and I'll be back soon after it does. But I'm going to stick around until it does. So.
All right. So AFAN, not yes and no. Like the colliding particle, I think that they tore a hole in the fucking universe and let exotic foreign particles into our universe, and those exotic foreign particles have been leaching into our brains ever since, changing us. Not like mutation wise, but just like altering pathways, synaptic pathways. And I think collectively as a species, we've all gone a little fucking nuts.
I think what actually happened is
things started to turn back around when they turned it on again.
No, I disagree. I think that they developed time travel and we are the dying gasps of this timeline. I personally don't believe that any timeline that actually develops time travel can survive. I think the imbalance built into the concept of going through time would create an eddy in the one-dimensional effect we can see, and it would spiral off into nothing rather than staying with the main timeline.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yep. Next.
I apologize for brother yelling at football in the other room.
No, we can't hear him, so it's fine.
That's good. Sometimes he yell really loud when he gets angry. It's a family trait. So I was fair warning.
Are you saying you yell really loud when you get angry?
Oh, she absolutely does.
Never raise my voice. I am an angel and a lady.
But
and
you
a liar.
More authoritatively. And a liar.
Just saying.
Delivery and everything.
That's going to be a short later.
We're just so quick on it too.
Hey, Luke Ashley, welcome in. Good to see you.
Hey, Lou. See, that was a decent enough thing for her to come in on.
Right. That wasn't too horrendous. We'll get to some horrendous stuff later. And by the way, Lou, I know you guys are live right now, but if you are free after your show, you're always welcome to jump in on here, as you know. So, exploding pants.
Is it because she's a liar?
I mean, sure. If we're gonna go the pants on fire route, I was thinking more, 90s era technology turned into bombs and then distributed throughout the network of your enemies, and then just activated all at fucking once across the Middle East. Yeah. So, I'm assuming that you guys heard about this. There are memes fucking everywhere about it. Usually by, there's been a lot of them coming out of England. A lot of them coming from Jewish quarters. A lot of them, just from, like the right wing in America, you're just seeing all kinds of stuff like this. And personally, I think that's like, while I make poor jokes in poor taste, a lot of jokes in very poor taste.
I've never
YouTube says I do too.
Yeah. I kind of have a problem with the actual method here. Like nobody's thinking about the long-term consequences of technology like this.
Yeah.
Right? Of weaponized technology like this. Like, how do I know that? I mean, obviously they're not going to use my phone. My phone's way fucking out of date and nobody's touched it in years. But like, how do you know that the device that you're walking around with in your pocket isn't primed to explode at any time? I mean, some of these things were prone to doing that anyway with overheating.
Well,
seriously, I did a serious sit down and think on this. The only way this is possible is either they have figured out a way to short circuit a battery in such a way that it causes it to explode. But I don't buy that. There's a shit ton of energy in those lithium batteries, if that's what those things were using, but it doesn't explode. It takes time for it to go off. And so it had just burst into like a major conflagration really quick, like hotter than the surface of the sun, but it's not an explosion, right? On the other hand, if you took a few years and you made the effort to start basically picking up bulk pagers and then selling them on eBay to cheap buyers, right? And you made sure to send them to the right places at the right time, you could remove one of the batteries out of each of those pagers, put in a slug-sized piece of plastique. It would wrap it in a battery wrap. It would look like a battery, walk like a battery, but only trigger when you send the right signal through. And the way you would be able to tell, at least not with cell phones, but with pagers, the way you would be able to tell is you would look at the manufacturer's rating for the amount of battery life you should have, and it would be dropped by like a third or half or a quarter, depending on what types of batteries and,
Yeah. So, like, I'm less concerned with the method because the fact is it happened, right? Bunch of people were killed, bunches more were injured. Some of the people killed were kids who happened to be near the damn things.
So this brings a question to mind. How many old 90s drug dealers just had their closets explode?
Well, it didn't make the news if that happened, but
Right?
unless they were in like fucking Syria or Lebanon.
Right. So this is a recent thing. You don't have to worry about it with your old pager. You can still trust that one.
Right. Well, from what I understand, what Mossad is claiming is that what they did was they took the like newest market version of like whatever pagers or whatever, because I guess Hezbollah is taken to using them to communicate or whatever. They had taken those and they tampered with a bunch of them and then sort of just seeded them in with the supplies that were going out to people who were involved or adjacent to Hezbollah or whatever. And so they hoped that they ended up in the right places. But here's the thing is like, there's no guarantee of that, right? You don't know who you're killing.
Yep.
When you set those switches off, you don't know who's in the room with them. You don't know if like say somebody's teaching Sunday school in fucking Beirut, right? And they're surrounded by a bunch of fucking kids, right? You don't know that this kind of shit. I get Hezbollah being a threat. I absolutely get Hezbollah being a threat, but this is terrorist shit.
That's terrorist. Yes, that's terrorism by definition. Yes. Yes, you are indiscriminately destroying lives. There is no guarantee that terrorists are what picked these things up, and you're taking them out. Anybody standing by them will suffer. But there's another layer here, and I think you've gotten something horribly wrong. There are no Sunday schools in Beirut, at least not like you're thinking.
I just threw out Sunday school. I know there's a fairly large Christian population in Beirut, but it's or there used to be anyway. There's probably a lot less of them now. But there is a Christian population in Beirut, so that's why I said Sunday school. I was like, you don't know like that it's necessarily Hezbollah who has the pager, right? You don't know who is carrying one of these things around and where they're taking it with them.
You could just be in like a coffee shop or some innocuous place.
How do you determine how to distribute these things. If you're just putting them in a store and trusting that these guys are going to come buy them, or maybe a specific website or something, I don't know. I've got some news.
Honestly, so Hezbollah's got money. They're funded through Iran, and Iran is funded through us and the WEF and about a half a dozen other things that want to see like the entire West destroyed. And by us, I mean like the CIA. So they have money, right? So it wouldn't be surprising to me if they spent some of the money they normally spend on fucking short range rockets with you know, like maybe buying in bulk from a warehouse and just having a whole shipment come out to them, and they distribute it themselves from there throughout their network. Would be my first guess. You know, otherwise, yeah, you're just handing out pagers to random fucking people.
Yep.
All right, so like I said, there's a specific website that these agencies are utilizing, and Mossad figured that out and then infiltrated the website and rerouted some cargo and called it good.
Yeah.
But let's say hypothetically, Mr. Terrorist Man over there in his little hijab or whatever it is the men wear, is sitting there and he's getting a pager, and his wife goes, "But honey, I need a pager too, right? Just to keep it home, just in case, you know, whatever the reason is." Or he leaves it at home one day. Boom.
Yeah.
That's terrorism. That's not war. That is some straight up William Tecumseh Sherman would be proud.
Yeah. So I don't know. The method of it bothers me. You know, I don't have a problem with Hezbollah not being a thing anymore. I do have a problem with the collateral. And let's see, where was it? Anarchy Television says this pager attack had less collateral damage than bombs coming from the sky. I will grant you that. Sure. Absolutely. You're talking about much lower grade explosions. They're not going to be as, you know, like, so a pager explodes, it kills 5 people in a room. A rocket explodes, it kills the building the room is in.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I'll grant you that. But I still think this is sneaky bullshit. You know, this is
the term nefarious,
the tactics of the enemy that they're seeking to destroy, frankly.
Which, I mean, Sun Tzu, he would fully approve of this. What this does is make their systems of communications unreliable and more public. They have to resort to radios and stuff, and even radios started going up recently, also, which means it's working. Whatever they're doing, it's working.
I'm not saying it doesn't work, man. It's obviously effective. They're going to be scared as shit to pick up any kind of electronic communication device from this day forward, right? It's going to cripple their communications network. I get that. It's effective. I understand that. What I'm saying is that I don't believe that anybody who does shit like this has any claim to any moral high ground whatsoever, and I refuse to play that fucking game. You know, like I'm for my money, right? And some of you who've been following this channel for a while probably already know this. I don't side with Israel. I don't side with Gaza. I don't side with, you know, any particular faction in the Middle East. As far as I'm concerned, the Middle East is not my fucking problem. But this kind of shit makes me look at it and I'm like, so I'm expected to praise Israel, and I'm expected to side with them over October 7th, which was a fucking horrifying disaster. Like all kinds of ugly shit came out of that, you know. And I can't pick a side here. It seems like everybody's a fucking douchebag.
Everyone is evil.
Everyone involved is fucking evil. And I don't see why my country should be involved with any of these people.
And I don't see how you can take our country out of that equation. If everyone is evil and all of these entities represent as governments, then perhaps government. Wait, let's not finish that sentence.
Right. Although,
yeah,
Sam, I don't think.
I don't care, man. I'm not doing it. I'm not siding with it. This is the same shit with the Russia-Ukraine shit, right? We're all supposed to be like, oh, you know, Ukraine's tiny and they're so helpless and they need our help to defend against this enormous aggressor. It's like, dude, no, I don't have to pretend that Zelensky's some kind of hero just because Putin is also a douchebag.
Yep.
Saw that man dance in tights. No.
So yeah, it's just, and again, like I get that the collateral is less than a rocket attack. Sure. Why is there collateral?
Sides. No one can make you take
You know,
sides. You're not
like
complicit.
I understand. I understand that children die in war. I understand. Yeah. So I will be making jokes about this like everybody else in poor taste. Part of that is how I cope with fucking dead kids. You know, it's some of it is because I'm kind of a bastard myself. But I'm not in favor of this tactic. I'm not going to be cheering this shit on. Like so many other people I've seen on the fucking right wing going like, "Oh yeah, look what they did. It's so awesome." I was like, "No, that was fucking murder." On a mass scale is what that was.
It's worse than that. It's worse than that. There is some argument to be made that some aspect of this could completely violate Geneva Conventions.
I was just going to bring that up.
Yeah, this is well. First of all, Canada hasn't done it yet, so it's not technically in the list. But this is in the spirit of.
They will.
Oh yeah, like I'm figuring it'll happen.
Give them a minute. They're too busy like trying to square away the queues for the euthanasia boxes.
Right, 25 cents. You get your quarterback.
Yeah.
Your loony back or whatever it's called, Tootie or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's any country seriously that calls their money Looney Tunes.
Right. But that's I guess let me just qualify this. Like when I say these things, like not everybody is going to share my opinion on this, and that's fine. And you know, people on a panel are not necessarily going to like we fight all the damn time, and that's fine. I'm just stating how I feel about it in the moment. It's a very recent thing, you know. So you know, a couple days ago, I think, and I'm shocked at
Are you appalled?
The rallying around people. Huh? Yeah, actually, I am. I am a little appalled by this, aghast, even if you will. let's pull out the old lexicon here. But it's just it is what it is, and I'm not gonna. I will never side with anybody who harms kids deliberately or not. Period. Yeah. So that's my take on it. So I just putting that out there. I'm gonna shut up now.
So, I'm gonna address something in chat right quick. If everyone would just do better, we'd all be doing better. Monocle face. Here's the issue with that. You know that chick at the McDonald's yesterday when you walked in there and she got your order wrong and you tried to get it fixed and she flipped out and started acting like somebody had slapped her? That's the person you're expecting to do better. I don't see it happening. How do you convince that person who is absolutely fed up with a cheeseburger to the point that she's willing to start throwing things? How are you going to convince that person to do better?
Can't tell her to calm down, that's for sure.
And I'm right. Now what? That's the best I had, honey. Checkmate.
Like, try saying that with a smile, baby.
I said that one night, got thrown out of the truck. I got pushed off the back of the I was sitting on the edge and there was this chick, she was going at it. I was drunk as hell, dude. She had no business being up there. We're creeping real slow through this old back road. And I took a shot and set it down. And she said something mean. And I said, well, I don't mind you saying it, but saying it with a smile next time. She just reached up and poked me right between the eyes. And I went right off the back of that damn truck because I'm a moron.
Right.
Oh, Lord.
So, I don't know. Gal, what's your take on this?
I mean, I don't like it. Not that my military experience can give too much of a insight into it, but as far as I am aware, whenever in war you're about to attack, you are supposed to mitigate the collateral damage. And
There's none
this
of that
type
here.
exactly. This type of attack, you cannot control that whatsoever. Like, you need confirmation that innocents are not in the vicinity before you initiate an attack. And you can't do that with this situation. So I was going to bring up earlier when Squatch brought it up, the Geneva Convention, in my mind, does not cover this. So I don't like it.
It kind of does. I can't remember
Right,
which
I'm no expert on it. But
paragraph or which section it is, but it has to do with things
That's
like
awesome.
those weird butterfly mine things that they outlawed a while back. I can't remember because they are dropped en masse and there's no way to recollect them later because they're largely made of plastic. They were deemed they can't be dropped from airplanes, but you can set up a box of them on the ground in a specific area and then deploy them. I don't know. It was the method of deployment that was the issue, and the reason was collateral damage.
Yeah, I don't know. It's so in war, right? The object is to defeat the enemy pretty much by any means necessary, but there are certain rules of conduct to that. The goal of terrorism is to create as much collateral damage as you possibly can.
right.
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 One might
That's-
argue that the nukes we dropped on Japan in 45 were terrorist acts because of the sheer amount of collateral damage that,
Right.
that occurred, because that was the point.
Disagree. No, the point was that's not collateral damage. That was a direct strike. The point was to eliminate those cities. That's a little different from, because consider this: 2 weeks before there were carpet bombing.
Sure,
Right? They
sure.
didn't stop doing that. They just upgraded the bomb and went from burning entire cities down to just blowing the whole thing to glass. There's not much of a difference there on the collateral damage scale, although admittedly, yeah, I get what you're saying. On the other hand, the point of the mission was to create that damage. It wasn't like, oops, we didn't mean to do that.
Right.
It's exactly what we meant to do. That's a little different.
Well, that's kind of why I bring those two cities up, Nagasaki and Hiroshima, is because while there were military targets within those cities, as there were within all cities in Japan, because the country was entirely focused on the war effort at the time, right? You could say the same thing about dropping a bomb on Philadelphia at that time, because people were focused. I think the phrase is total war, right? Where the entire people and their economy and their drive and their focus is entirely focused upon war, one way or the other. Like, you're either passing out propaganda, you're manufacturing munitions, like you're doing whatever you can to help the war effort. And if you can't do any of those things, then you're fighting, and that's so their whole country was, so there were military targets within Nagasaki and Hiroshima, munitions factories, that kind of thing. However, there were also 50 million children.
So the thing is, the Geneva Convention was brought up because of that war.
Mhm.
And what
Yeah,
took
well,
place.
yeah.
America didn't commit any war crimes in World War II because the concept of war crimes was specifically brought up in relation to World War II and World War I. So, yeah, it's kind of a moot point, but at the same time, was it a terroristic act? Yes, but not.
Who did it first, though?
Well, let's define terrorism, right? Let's define terrorism. In my mind, terrorism is an act designed to affect policy through fear, right?
Yeah.
So if you create enough fear, and the best way to do that is to create a lot of carnage, right? The idea is so what we were trying to do was we were trying to get Japan to surrender, right? And there were overtures, but there was people holding off, and the Japanese military was not fucking happy about it. They wanted to fight to the death, whereas Hirohito was like, maybe we should consider it. And I think there was even a coup right after he came out and said, yeah, we're gonna make a deal. And they tried to overthrow him. The Japanese military top brass tried to overthrow him because they were like, fuck you, we're gonna fight to the death. Right. There was some other stuff involving Russian expansion into Manchuria that's all tied into that too. But But the idea was to force the Japanese leadership to capitulate and surrender, right?
War.
And yeah, and essentially that, like, the best way to do that was to scare the ever loving hell out of not only them but every other power on Earth at the same time,
I
right?
have a quote, and it's a great quote. It's one of my favorites from the Civil War. William Tecumseh Sherman said, "War is the remedy our enemies have chosen, and I say let us give them all they want." He was also quoted as saying, when proposing the march to the sea, "I will make them squeal." That's what's happening now. They're trying to make them squeal.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, and
See, this is
I
the
don't know.
thing. Most people don't live in an area where the witnesses of a terroristic warfare are extant, where the literal
thanks,
mark of
Starling.
that terrorism is drugged through the very fabric of society here in Georgia. From Atlanta to Savannah, there is three pathways of differences, right? Each one slaves three different fronts, and he marched all the way to the sea and burned everything that stuck up higher than a boot. Everything. So if you get a little further out of town in either direction, you run into really old farmhouses, really old plantations. That doesn't exist here. And the reason all of that stuff is gone is because someone, Sherman, decided to wage a terroristic warfare on the capital of the South and succeeded. So when you start talking about going to war in America in the future, consider that some of us have learned that lesson that might have been lost on some others.
Sure. So I just yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see as far as the Middle East is concerned. I really wish my country would stop sending them money and fucking support. When I say them, I mean Middle Easterners. I'm not being specific as to sides. Yeah. Because I don't think we have any business being over there. And I also think in the case of the Arab Muslims and the Jews specifically, you know, all this like from the river to the sea shit and the, you know, vice versa, you know, what's the new one that's out now is from the liver to the knee because of the pager exploding pants thing, which is kind of funny.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, it's super fucked up, but it is kind of funny. Yeah, like this y'all have to keep in mind that Jews and Arabs have been at war with each other for thousands of years, long before almost every single nation in Europe was a nation. Right? This goes all the way back to the sons of Abraham, man. They're never not going to be trying to fucking murder each other. There's nothing we can do to change that, and it's not our fucking fight. You know? You're muted, Gal.
I said, yep, what he said.
Yeah.
I forgot I was typing, so I turned my mic off.
So what was it? Isaac and Ishmael? You know, like you just and I don't think it's anti-Semitic to say that, except that they're all Semitic. You know, that's one of those things I've always hated that phrase, like anti-Semitic, because it's applied specifically only to people who are Jewish or have some Jewish in them, whereas there are other Semitic peoples, including Arabs. Arabs are also Semitic. You know, but now we've got a new phrase for them, even though not all of them are Muslims, right? It's Islamophobia. You know, so I don't know. It's the wording is designed, I think, to be as confusing and perplexing and infuriating as possible. You know, got to keep that outrage up, but God forbid anybody thinks about these things.
So I've been looking at the list of parties to the Geneva Convention because people have been added after the fact type of things. And both Israel and Palestine have signed. So there was a comment earlier, it only applies to those who've signed on. I don't know the exact details. I'm just looking at the list of all of them. And I just wanted to bring that up.
Well, I think Israel had to sign because that was around the time that the nation was formed.
Right.
You know, and the Palestinians, they had to be okay with that because Israel was basically formed inside their country, and now it's Israel and Palestine's inside it. You know, and however that happens. But both of those peoples had to sign the Geneva Convention, or there wouldn't be Israel.
Right. It's funny because there's like a column on this list. Don't judge me. It is Wikipedia, but there's a column that says notes, and not a lot of countries on it have notes, but Palestine has like really long note.
Yeah.
It's the longest one in there.
It would be. So that's the other thing. So information outlets and news outlets and that sort of thing, and websites like Wikipedia, should strive to be as unbiased as possible. But we all know that none of them are. You know, there's no such thing as an unbiased source of information. It does not exist. There are some who strive to be as unbiased as possible, but for the most part, no, they all lean one direction or the other, and some of them obviously more so than others, like Wikipedia. It is what it is. I don't know. And I say that a lot because that's what I say when I have no idea where to go with what I'm saying
from here.
Yes, it's filler. It's better than saying every 10 seconds.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm working on it. I've been doing this YouTube gig for like 2 fucking years now, and I'm still not like great with filler and awkward silences and that kind of thing. I'm working on it, but I am better than I used to be. If you go back and watch my very first fucking stream, it's awful. So bad.
We should do that one night. Hey, dude, let's do that one night. Let's me, you, and some of the guys get together, and we'll just sit down and go dig up our oldest stream, our oldest live stream, hands on and expose others to ourselves.
Right.
So what are the parameters with it? First live stream ever, even if it's guest, or first that you controlled?
No, the first that you did, the first that you were in charge of, that is like, because you're running it and you're presenting and you're being the personality and the focal point and all of that stuff. So like it would be like yours is fairly recent, but there is some awkwardness there because you were very nervous.
Oh yeah, Devil was in the background and like.
Yeah. 4 years ago, my first live stream included mandatory carry. So y'all figure out where that thing went.
Oh, no. I've heard this story several times from you and him.
It's not, dude, there are very few origin stories that include a 5-strike ordeal in the very first effort.
Right. Yeah. So for those of you who don't know mandatory carry, some of you do. He doesn't always think before things come out of his mouth, and sometimes he overthinks it before it comes out of his mouth, and either way he ends up saying things that maybe YouTube's not super cool with. Yeah, you know, he did this thing once. Well, what he likes to do is his StreamYard's avatar will always have some fucked up name on it, right? Most of the time, it's a set of very specific slurs. Well, this was I think early last year. So I'm running shit for Amira, right? And I'm bringing people up on panel for her. We've since adjusted how we do this so this doesn't fucking happen again. But so Carrie pops into backstage, right? And I'm backstage as well, and so I'm producing the show and all that stuff. And I pop him up on there because if he popped backstage, I figure he wanted to be on panel and contribute to the conversation or say something or whatever. And I knew it was Carrie because I know Carrie, right? But I didn't read the name that he had on StreamYards before I put him up on her screen with 3 very specific slurs that are definitely not allowed on YouTube.
To give you a hint, it is a K, an N with a hard R, and an F.
And an F.
And that's one word that he puts up in all caps. It's horrible, but at the same time, it's hilarious because you don't expect it. It just pops
It's really
up. You look
funny.
and you're like, oh God.
But I'm seeing it and I'm just like, oh, that's just Carrie, right? And I didn't, it never occurred to me that maybe I shouldn't put him up on a live stream live on someone else's channel with that name.
Oops.
It was so bad. And the thing is he had forgotten about it because he'd said it that way like a week or two before and he wasn't even thinking about it himself. So he never occurred to him either.
My God.
You can call me Sasquatch. I don't mind.
Yeah.
You hush.
Snark knows who I'm talking about.
Yeah, she's met him.
Mhm.
It's I always giggle maniacally anytime he shows up backstage, and I'm like, I sometimes I have to do a disclaimer depending on who's on the freaking panel at the time because I
Right.
don't do this public ever, never live. It's always backstage after the show type stuff, and he pops up, and I'm like, all right, everybody, listen, fixing to bring up a dude who is an avowed spurg. So keep that in mind as you realize what level of spurg you're dealing with. So I'm not going to change anything. I'm just going to put it out there, and I want everybody to cam up so I can see your reactions to what's fixing to take place. Click.
Yeah. No, I'm with you 100% on that, man. Look, Carrie's my friend. He's been my friend for 4 fucking years, right? I like the guy a lot. I don't know why the fuck he hangs out with me because he doesn't like anybody, but he's, and he can be a lot of fun. And but yeah, sometimes you have to, if you're gonna have him on with other people, you gotta put a little disclaimer in there because he could be a little much.
I wouldn't let him in with. There's a handful like some like take DJ K Dot, right? He's one of those identity politics / race type folks. That you put him in a room with mandatory carry and it will end up in a screaming match in less than 30 seconds. Because Carrie don't care. He don't care. He has nothing left to care about on this platform.
He used to come on this show relatively frequently back in the earlier episodes, and you could always tell when he was uninterested in either the other people on the panel or the topics because he would turn his camera off but not mute his microphone and then start cleaning his fucking guns as loud as he could. It's like, seriously, if you go back and watch any of the things where he's on the panel and you start hearing these specific sounds and his camera is off, that's what's happening. He's cleaning his guns because he's fucking annoyed with somebody on the panel or with the topic or he's bored.
I find it's just better to entertain him a little bit. It's not difficult. It only takes a mild bit of attention to do it, and if you stop doing it, you'll find out immediately.
Yeah. He's an interesting dude. He's a mod on both our channels, I think, as well.
So a lot of people try to say he's crazy, but the thing is he has a similar problem to me. People don't know how to take me because for some reason my very ordinary observations of the ordinary world come across to people as some kind of joke when I'm just saying what's happening. It's not my fault. It's funny to you.
It is funny to me in a lot of cases, but it might also be the fact that you have a tendency to turn your mic off and cackle like a witch.
Well, I'm not going to talk about that.
Don't talk about witches around me for a while, okay?
I assume that's a reference to something I haven't seen.
Agatha. Dermy's an asshole.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I forgot that was the only reason I even knew that was happening was because Adam's been putting out video after video of it.
I'm trying to get a hashtag cancel Dermy Wormy going.
Yeah.
Because of that show. I hate it.
I'm unclear about that. Is it because the show sucks or because Jeremy made you watch it or did he in some way defend it?
The combination. He made us watch it and I hate it.
Trifecta.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Dick.
I didn't even know what it was about. I just saw. So Gal puts out on Twitter the other day this meme with I think Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers like holding up a sign saying "Cancel Termy Wormy," which was pretty funny.
Jeremy commented on saying, "I support this," and it made my day so
Right?
wonderful.
So I didn't even know what the fuck this was on about, and somebody in the chat was just like, "Oh my god, you know, gas prices are up and grocery prices are up, and there's more important things than a damn TV show." It's like, yeah, but this isn't about the TV show. This is about fucking around and shitting on our friend Dermy. I was like, it's got nothing to do with the TV show, really. You know?
Yep.
This is more about getting clout, bro. Like, I just want to dunk on him one time.
Right? And then I added at the end of that tweet, hashtag cancel Dermy Wormy. So Dermy comes in and he likes that and he reposts it, and then he lays in on the guy who was complaining about the gas prices. It was good. It was good.
It was a good time. Mainly because the show wasn't. At least I found some happiness somewhere.
Well, what show are we talking about here?
Agatha All Along.
Okay, I
MCU.
thought so. I have only seen parts of trailers from it, and it reminds me of it puts me in mind of what's the name of that movie? The UHF, where they burned down
with Weird Al.
Yeah. And remake all the movies. Well, and part of what they did when they got done, and this is like not even really part of the movie, it's just something that's thrown in there. They took all of the cutting room stuff after they got done re-editing everything into the movies they were renting, and just put all of the edits together on one tape and stuck it over there. And if you watch the movie, you'll notice that people are regularly picking up that tape. And I kind of feel like this is that, but with new shots. So they took all. I mean, it strikes me as a show that is based on member berries and nothing else.
So I didn't watch WandaVision. I saw from random clips like what it was about. Seemed like a cool idea, but heard it fell off towards the end.
Yes, it did. Pretty hard. It started out okay.
It did like the All Girls Oceans, right?
God, like that movie.
It was Oceans something or other. Anyway,
8.
the issue is like when the show starts, or at least with WandaVision, when the show starts, it's a pretty good show with a pretty good plot. But by the time you get to the end of it, all of the male cast has been either eliminated or relegated to idiot status, and all of these random people that were in the beginning of the show have been elevated to the people that are actually running the show, and then everything goes horribly wrong.
So that's how Agatha begins. Is all of the men are idiots or assholes and or incompetent. But it's in her head because Wanda put her into whatever she was doing to Wanda.
Right. So that's I've got two questions based on that concept, because when I was watching both Loki and WandaVision, right, there were 2 points that I think a lot of people missed about these shows. In WandaVision, this wasn't the real world, and it's not a real timeline. It is an imaginary world created by a powerful feminist woman. Mm-hmm. And so in that world, all things are exactly the way her ideals say they should be. Anything that interferes with that has to be destroyed, which is, your standard feminist doctrine, right? So when you take a sequel concept of that, you have to start at 11 on that point, because she did create the world that she's stuck in, and that's why it's the way it is. And while that's an interesting plot device, it doesn't excuse the trash that follows. Okay, now here's my question: do you think the directors stuck their penis in the light socket in order to make a point of how trashy this stuff was, or do you think they were actually attempting to make a decent show?
I don't think the directors have penises, whether they're
they
men or
now. Women. They didn't then. Don't mess with me. I'm quick.
I honestly, the first episode, it was a 2-episode drop. for the first week of it. The first episode, the first 30 minutes of like the 40-minute episode don't matter at all because they're in her head. And then you get some more information where she needs to build a coven to save herself from the other witches that are going to come try and kill her because she doesn't have powers. And I hated my life because they were just taking, it was miscongeniality in my mind. It was miscongeniality combined with double jeopardy, where Tommy Lee Jones and Sandra Bullock do a way better job at playing the character that she was. And then it's a bunch of gay, what is it called? Queer baiting that takes place for later episodes to be just straight up queer.
So it's basically a live action confirmation bias.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Do you like,
they don't care about a story.
Okay. To counter that point, I discovered something on Disney that is actually a pretty good show. After having watched it once, I'm going through it again because I didn't watch it real close the first time. I was cleaning up and I just put it on, but it was like 4 episodes later when I realized I was sitting there with a bag of chips and a joint. I was like, wait, I wasn't meaning to watch this. What happened? Right. It's the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series. Right.
I don't trust your judgment, sir.
No, hear me out.
No.
I'm not saying that it's not woke trash. I'm saying that in that woke trash, there is a plot that does exist. It's got enough of the books in it. I think Percy Jackson
the first series of Percy Jackson books are actually pretty good.
Yeah, the first 3 or so?
5. I think there's the first set of 5, and then he did something else, and then he came back with a sequel series to the Percy Jackson series where they were older, and then it got weird. But
well, you can't do adolescent fiction if you're 25. That doesn't work.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but what I'm getting at is this: if you go to Disney and you try to find this, because I didn't know they had made a series. I have always said if you're going to do Percy Jackson, you have to do it as a series. I say the same thing about the Xanth series. You cannot make a Xanth movie. You would just be regurgitating on the entire concept of Xanth. There's so many details there that you can't cover it in a 2-hour movie. So instead, you make a 3-season series out of it, and you make there's 36 Xanth novels. So I mean, you'll never run out of stuff. Similar with Percy Jackson, there's 16 of them now or something like that. I don't know. There's a bunch.
Yeah, plus the Carter and what's his name? Because there's another series that ties into the Percy Jackson series about another couple of kids who are connected to the Egyptian pantheon, not the Greek pantheon. It's a whole thing.
Ooh, I bet that's neat. But
some of it is, yeah.
Is the books don't lend. It's like trying to do a movie about Dune. You do Dune as a series, a full-on series, and that gives you the breadth of time to be able to approach all of the different concepts. Percy Jackson's a series for a totally different reason. It involves a whole lot of action sequences that have to be done in order for the plot in the book to be followed. Very much like Harry Potter. Harry Potter had something going for it in that each one of the seasons, each one of the action series that they had in the books were very video game-ish. That's not the case in Percy Jackson. He's literally fighting a freaking Minotaur with a sword,
with a pen. Yeah.
Well, it's a pen that's mightier than the sword. That's mightier than
that turns into it's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing. But what I'm getting at is I was more interested in the adaptive nature of it than I was in any particular agenda it was promoting. And when I found out there was a series, I went and scrolled through Disney going, okay, well, I'm going to go find it. It's nowhere. You can't find it. You have to search for Percy Jackson and the Olympians before it will pop up. So they're not promoting this, I think, because it wasn't quite as heavy duty woke garbage as they wanted. And because it has a decent plot attached to it, a plot unrelated to the agenda. And that, I think, is the problem. I think they snuck one in on them.
I'm just surprised that nobody told Dermy to go fuck himself when he said, "You guys have to watch this."
Hold up. He tried. Sorry, we tried. He tried to tell us that anyone who doesn't watch it isn't allowed on. We compromised because no one was going to show up and it would have just been him. That we would watch the first week. And that was before we knew it was 2 episodes. So we had to deal with that. And then after that, it was not a requirement, or I don't know. We didn't really finish the finite details. But there was a negotiation process that took place before everything collapsed on Ballbusters. Because there were some very harsh words thrown around. We'll say. It was some stubbornness and stuff.
Yeah, I bet. I don't know. On the one hand, like I'm kind of sad that I miss Ballbusters every week, but on the other hand, I'm also really glad that I run a show in the exact same time slot, so that I don't have to ever go on Ballbusters. I love Dermy, I do, and I'm not ashamed to say that. He's a good dude, but I don't want anything to do with the direction that he's taking his channel. Like the pop culture shit and the drama tube shit, it's not for me. So
yeah.
So, but yeah, that's, I don't know. I'm not gonna watch Agatha or whatever. Like I'm just like, this tells you how far we've fallen in terms of entertainment. Is that they're now trying to promote a series that is about a character who in the comic books up until like the 90s or whatever was only ever Franklin Richards' nanny.
Yeah, wasn't even a side character. Not really
right?
mentioned.
She worked for Reed Richards, taking care of his kid. That's it. That's all she did for decades.
Until feminism shows up, waves its masculine wand, and poof, she's a super witch. Trans.
Well, I mean, she was kind of witchy to begin with, like, but that was part of why she was chosen, was because she was formidable and could take care of this super infant.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But she didn't really go on adventures or nothing. She really just minded the kid and protected him from threats to the kid, because obviously Reed has a lot of enemies, not the least of which is Dr. fucking Doom.
But Sam, don't you realize that this is for a modern audience? How dare you, sir?
Oh,
yeah, modern audiences. So I'm going to paraphrase something here. You guys are aware of that clip of the Arab dude who's talking about it's for the people, it's of the people, by the people, and for the people, but the viewers are retarded.
Yeah.
Like, this is like, no, modern audiences are fucking, like, first of all, I don't believe in this animal called the modern audience. I think it's manufactured. I think it's fucking made up. Yeah.
I had searched the universe. I have gone forth, no joke, during the whole fiasco with the well, not Winter Soldier. It was
oh, was he Indian? Okay.
The
he was still right.
The one where the black guy becomes Captain America after the Hawk, the
oh yeah.
I can't remember the name of that series.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier. During that process, when that was going on, I went around and talked to all my old friends that like called them up and stuff and was like, hey, what do y'all think about this? And every single one of them said it was trash. I went and asked I called my daughter's birthday party, and I walked in 30, 17-year-old, 18-year-olds, whatever, however old she was when that was happening. I walked in, I was like, I need to know something. Have y'all seen this? And they were like, yeah, we pretty much watched it. And the other half was like, no, we hadn't seen it. And I was like, so what do y'all think about it? It's terrible. It's terrible. I'm watching it because my boyfriend watches it. I'm like, and how does he feel about it? He says it's terrible, but he's going to watch it anyway. I was like, okay. All right.
Whatever.
Mm-hmm. Well, I get that too, though, because I have this really terrible time with things too. If I start something, I feel an obligation and a need to see it through, no matter how fucking awful it gets.
Like
right. This is
content.
why there.
I do too.
Yeah, there are certain things that I just don't touch for that reason. Because I know I'm gonna fucking watch the whole thing, and I don't want to. I don't want that shit in my head.
It's like looking away. Like I never understood when people come across a bus crash and they slow down and rubberneck their way by trying to see stuff. I've never understood that. Why would you want that trash in your head? This is the same thing. This is you were watching Disney and every other major production studio involved in a 27 car pileup involving a train, an airplane, and a fucking UFO from the planet Zebulon, all at the same time. And everyone on Earth is slow necking their way by trying to catch a glimpse of some blood and gore.
So, do you have to make a conscious decision not to look?
Yes.
Pretty much. Well, I did that a long time ago. It's not.
So your natural inclination is to look.
No, man. Well, sure. I think everyone's natural inclination is to look, but a conscious, rational animal with memories would know that whatever you see over there is something you don't want inside your head.
How are you with gory films?
I don't have a problem with gory films. The difference there, and I can also butcher entire animals with no qualms whatsoever. The issue is this is violence or damage that has taken place that I was not a part of, and therefore I don't want to remember seeing someone's splattered all over a freaking pavement or whatever. I would avoid putting that in my brain. But then again, consider, Gal, I remember so much of so much. I never know what's going to catch and what's not. And so when it comes to seeing something especially gory that's real, that has more of a flashback impact on my memory than, say, a movie of somebody getting strung up. Like I remember Saw and I remember Hostel and all of that stuff. That's fine. That doesn't bother me at all. It's creepy, but it's fine. It doesn't cause me PTSD or nothing. But seeing a little girl on the highway, that haunts my fucking nightmares.
Right, which I can understand. Okay, I was just trying to see what the
conscious decision. Yes, but I made that conscious decision a long time ago, and I don't really think about it anymore.
Well, like to kind of pull it back a little bit, that's it's like with let's take it back to the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I watched that series from beginning to end, and I regretted it very early on in it. And it just keeps getting fucking worse. And now it's not about necessarily a violence or disturbing imagery, but a lot of it was just the messaging and also the really, really terrible fucking writing. And that kind of thing. So when I say don't want certain things in my head, it isn't always things that are just disturbing. It's just like I don't want to consume shit that's not good.
See, I stopped watching all like Star Wars and Marvel MCU stuff. So after Endgame and after The Last Jedi, until I started streaming and then became a permanent fixture on the panel that is Ballbusters. And I hate that decision because now I've watched Ahsoka, The Acolyte, and have seen the first 2 episodes of Agatha.
I couldn't do it. I am almost sorry, but I'm not actually sorry. Let me tell you how that went with Ahsoka. When it come to Ahsoka, I'm so mad about it. I watched everything, the whole damn 9, all the way up to Ahsoka. We get to the point where they're in the ship and they're trying to get away. And I looked over at my wife, and we're in between episodes. And I looked at my wife. I said, if that bitch gets out on the outside of this ship, starts batting turbo blasters away with her fucking little grave sticks, I'm done. She giggled at me. She's like, don't be silly. I said, no, I'm done. There have been 35 years of Star Wars fic that has been produced, and nowhere in canon has a Jedi ever utilized a lightsaber against ship's weapons in that fashion. There's a reason for it. And like, no sooner does the next episode start up, home chick hops out on it. Bink, bink. And I didn't say a word. My wife missed that I left because she was so caught up in the show. And I just wandered off. And she's like, where'd you go? I was like, no, just no. Yep. No, just no. I watched the
Yeah.
first season of Acolyte because Captain Curmudgeon said he was going to watch it and we were going to do a review on it. We did that, and I cursed him for it for a solid 15 minutes live.
Yeah, well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, so I was watching, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and obviously there's that weird like messianic shit at the end with Freckled Jesus, and like, oh, just do better. Well, how do you suggest we go about doing that? I don't know. I'm not the one who got voted into office. You got to figure that out. But do better, kind of bullshit. That's the culmination of stuff. There were other things that I think the worst part is there were seeds in that story that could have been worth something, right? There's a whole subplot that they completely forget about it after the first fucking episode of Bucky dealing with the fucking people that he has, the people left behind from all of his assassinations, and him having to deal with that guilt and trying to make up for that. That would have been a very worthwhile story to pursue. It was very interesting, and they just drop it like it didn't happen.
It's never spoken about again. If I remember right, at the time there was discussion of there being a full Winter Soldier series going through his different missions from the comic books and stuff, right? Supposedly, because you got to remember, at this point in time, Disney had 36 different series coming out in the next year. There was Andor, there was all kinds of stuff in the works. It was like a freaking Hydra. More heads you shake a stick at. And then with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that flopped. And then everything else flopped after that. I lost interest in Andor when a 8-year-old girl outran a Jedi through a crowded terminal. Without effort. She didn't use the Force. She was just so precocious.
She was just quick and scrappy.
Right.
So you really enjoyed Kenobi too, then, huh?
I hated that one so much. I didn't watch all of. I don't think I've watched all of any of these. I got to some critical part. And I'm not the type of person to stop watching some stuff. It has to be something like with Ahsoka, where I turn and look at my wife and go, I swear to God, if they drop that girl in that freaking hole, because there's just a hole over there for no apparent freaking reason. If that girl falls in that hole and that's the plot device that gets them in there, I'm out.
What about hiding her under a trench coat and no one notices it? There's a four-legged
That is the least offensive gimmick used in any of the series I've mentioned.
So the fact that little girl, 7 or 8 years old, actually said that it didn't make sense that she outran a bunch of adults, that's commentary on your own fucking show, and you shouldn't have put it in there.
Yeah. But not only
the logic of a child is out-logicking you.
Are their directors so fed up with the trash they're being forced to make that they are leaning into it so hard that they will be forced to
Oh, you're talking about acceleration theory?
Yeah.
Just fucking quit.
Yeah. I'm kind of with the gal on this one. It's like, why feed into it at all?
Walk away.
I agree. But if your dream, all right, I got a buddy of mine. When he was a kid, he met a handful of the Georgia football team, the University of Georgia, and they became his heroes. And from that day forward, this man was going to be a football player. And when he found out he was only 5'9" and only weighed 148 pounds, he decided that football players, maybe not his job, maybe will be a coach. And from there to today, that man today is a coach for the University of Georgia football staff. If a person like that, who has dreamed of working at Disney, making movies and doing that whole thing their whole life, they might not care about any of this. It's not about the money. It's not about the stories. It's about working for Disney, at Disney, doing Disney.
But
but what's that currency worth now?
The people that you're talking about, though, with whatever theory Sam just said that I haven't heard of until that moment, was if those are the type of people that are basically just sabotaging it because it's trash and they know it, then they shouldn't, in my opinion, care enough to stay, because it's no longer the thing that they love. And they're recognizing that fact and sabotaging it.
So I agree with you on that point. What acceleration theory is like you have heard people talk about this stuff.
I
It's
have.
like it's going to get bad. We know it's going to get bad, and it's definitely going to happen one way or the other. So let's make it happen as fast as fucking possible to get it over with.
That to me is okay. Sacrifice your soul instead of standing.
I agree. I agree.
That's
no,
stupid.
I'm a bit of a natural born troll. If
I
ended up in a
don't see
position where I had the choice between making trash for an absurd amount of money or making good films and living in a cardboard box, if I was an artist, I would make good films and live in a cardboard box. But I'm a troll. I'm going to make trash and make bukus of fucking money.
Right, but you can make fun, good trash too. So, like, it doesn't have to be like the kind of soul-crushing, mindless, gray, blobby, Tommy nonsense that rolls out of fucking Disney.
You put trolling above good.
I'm not an
content
artist,
that
right?
you. What? Sorry.
If I was an artist, I would live in a box and make art. I am more of like a salesman / entertainer. The things I do promote other things and other people, not myself typically. So I don't know that the ego is not the driving force here, except for being the seed of that troll that allows me to not be offended, because I'm going to offend you more later. if I'm offended now, I can offend you more later. So I'm not offended.
Here's the thing.
Eventually you are.
You don't have to go do this work for Disney, right? Roger Corman made fuckloads of money making trash, right? And producing trash. Canon Films made fuckloads of money making and producing and distributing trash, right? Troma is nothing but fucking trash, but it made a bunch of money.
It's still making money, bro. Troma Films is one of the best filming houses to ever come out of anything anywhere.
I'm just saying, you can make trash, make money, and people will still watch your trash because at least it's entertaining trash.
Right. But Disney's not doing entertainment trash. Not at all.
No,
it's not entertaining.
What I'm saying is you can make a fuckload of money and be a troll and not work for Disney. That's what I'm getting at.
Right. Like, and not support the demonic shit. I know Sam hates that. Sorry. I don't know, whatever you want to say in your head that is somewhat
You can say whatever word you like. You know how I feel. Like, I'm free speech above all other things. Even if you fucking offend me, it's still free speech.
I shouldn't say demonic though either, because it's evil to me.
Sure, evil works.
Sam, have I got a gray streak in my hair?
Man, I thought your lighting was just making it look like your hair was darker than it was. I thought you were all gray.
I was just gonna say, aren't you all gray, or are you trolling? Like,
fuck you.
Like, you just said you're a troll, so I thought you were trolling because I thought it is.
I see where we stand now, young man. Guns are loaded.
Look, my hair is gray, so I'm not, whatever.
You don't have hair, you have tentacles.
Yeah.
Silly.
Yeah, that too. They're getting old.
Wait, are your tentacles gray? Do you have undead tentacles? That's what
they're
undead people.
They're kind of dryish. They could probably use some
lube.
Yeah, lube, whatever. I'm not gonna use Diddy's lube. I know where that's been. It's been in Justin Bieber. Fuck that noise. What? You telling me that man did not finger that boy?
No.
I'm saying he didn't use lube. Don't mess with me.
Gross.
Ew.
Ew.
Yeah. Did he do it? Did he?
Did he do it? Did he? Did he did it? Did he do it?
What? Did he dumb? Did he do?
I hate that freaking meme. Damn it.
Oh man. Yeah, no, I don't know. That guy's a whole other fucking can of worms. But I don't know. I just don't watch what you're not interested in. Like, it's one of the problems with so for those of you out there who don't run, a channel or whatever, you're on YouTube, but you're not like on YouTube. You know what I mean? Most people find a niche and they stick with it, and that's how if there's any success to be found, that's how they find it, right? And so there are a lot of people who will pick a niche, like take Star Wars Theory, for example. Found a lot of success. He's got several million subscribers. He's networked with tons and tons of people. He's apparently a very nice guy. I don't know. I haven't met him. But his whole shtick was doing like Star Wars fanfic and Star Wars fan theories and that kind of thing. And he was a massive fan of all things Star Wars until, the last couple of years, where the people who actually make Star Wars these days started attacking him directly. And there's a whole rabbit hole about that shit. So if you're interested, it's all out there on the internet. But my point is, it's like he found that success by being interested in one topic and sticking to that one topic and being very, very good at making, his content about that topic. The problem with that is that when it does go to shit, like Star Wars does, you have to find some way to pivot to survive, because otherwise you're going to sit there and you're either going to be doing the same kind of content about much worse content, or you're going to your channel's going to collapse. So in order to keep the channel alive, you have to adapt. But how do you adapt, right? So like he's pivoted quite a bit. He's doing his own kind of thing, and he started criticizing it more these days, and he's done so successfully. A lot of channels don't survive this sort of thing. But this is one of the reasons that I don't pigeonhole my channel, right? We talk about everything. We talk about anything. And the reason for that is because I'm interested, not to like an insane Joe Rogan level of curiosity interested, but I'm interested in a lot of different things, and I want to talk about a lot of different things. And one of the blessings about that, the curses are obvious. Like, we don't grow much. We don't get a lot of traction. We don't get seen except by people who know we already exist, which is, it is what it is. However, we get to talk about what we want. I don't assign homework to any of my fucking panelists. We don't have to watch anything that is going to offend our fucking sensibilities to get through a show here. Whereas somebody like, say, Dermy Wormy, for example, is very pop culture and culture oriented. And so he has to know and be on top of everything that comes out, which means he has to watch a lot of shit that he may not necessarily want to watch. And that I know for a fact most of his panelists don't want to watch, and in order to keep his channel alive. And that's unfortunate, because while he is growing, he is also kind of locked into this sort of social contract where he has to suffer for your entertainment. And I know there's a lot of schadenfreude in YouTube. It's super fucked up, but I'm not doing that.
I did negotiate and say, why can't we watch something good for a change?
Right.
That's not a negotiation. That was you backing out of your standing position. Why can't we watch something good? Is like looking your sergeant straight in the eye and saying, why can't we go home? And you go through that shit anyway, right?
Are you? Well, no. So we had already made the deal to watch Agatha. The first week. I'm meaning for like future things to watch, and we're watching Arcane when the new the new season comes out.
Well, and again, like that's part of what his whole channel shtick is about, and like he's got to stay within that niche if he wants to continue to make traction. And that's unfortunately just how the fucking algorithm works. You can't just be like, oh, I'm going to criticize this show that everybody hates 1 week, and the next week you're just like, you know what? I think I want to darn some socks on camera. You're going to lose traction that way. Or in my case, I'm never going to gain it, but at least I'm doing shit that I'm interested in week to week,
Disagree, sir.
We could do it in a version of shaved.
I despise feminist nonsense. So,
but it's not hentai. That's true.
I'm not sure that's a bonus, dude. I
it's
think
not even for me.
I gotta qualify that. So that's kind of a thing that's going to be a thing for Beelzebub from now on, because we had Vagabundo on last night, and he kept recommending all these and he kept saying, "But it's not hentai," and then describing it, and it sounds an awful lot like fucking hentai.
That actually
so it
happened
just
the
sort of
last
became
time he was on.
yeah, but it sort of became a running gag this episode.
Yeah.
So
Okay, gotcha. Sorry, I missed it.
so it's fine. I think there's going to be T-shirts at the next meetup or whatever that say that with his face on it. It's a whole thing now.
I'm a thing. Got it. Yes,
So.
Andy, we did make it through the Haunting of Hill House, which I find it hilarious, like the different
You know what?
Titles that have similar names like that. So it was constantly
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what though? Now that I have you here, like right here in public, I told you so.
Fucking Sam, I know. I am innocent in all of this. I did a poll and I followed what won. You can blame Mr. Beelzebub down there.
Oh, I do. Oh, I do.
Know. He recommended something that he knew nothing about.
Yep. And it was not good. And I told y'all it wasn't going to be good.
Oh my God. It's so bad. It was terrible.
I was thinking about this thing. I call it Just Add Movie, right? We would have to set up somebody to watch a movie that either they're going to find off-putting or have a good reaction to. But then when we set up the recording, you only record the people's voices that are watching the movie. And then you include in the description of the video the movie that you're watching and all the timestamps so that somebody could watch, quote unquote, with you. So they go home, turn on the movie, and then reach over and turn on the YouTube video of us watching the same movie, and it tracks at the same time, right? Kind of like Mystery Science Theater 3000, but just for folks that care about us.
I never saw that.
But I was thinking Amira might be a real good one to do because we could there's so many movies she hasn't seen, and it would just be, I think it'd be great.
I mean, if I could talk her into it, I don't know if she'd be okay with watching some random thing that she knows nothing about. Like she's pretty particular about which movies she watches.
I get that. But surely somewhere there are movies out there that aren't so heinous that she refuses, but are good enough that people are. Because here's the thing: she's going to think the good movies are heinous, and the heinous movies are good, because she doesn't have the bad movie lore in her background to be able to judge that type of stuff. Like she'd watch The Goonies and be like, "Oh, that's a silly film." And then turn around and watch Tromaville of any description and go, what kind of monster pick is this, right? The lore doesn't land on her. She doesn't get it, which is great. That would be great. That's exactly what we're looking for, is someone who will have a different reaction.
I don't understand the obsession with the Goonies.
That came up last night too, actually.
Should do. Yes.
It came up on Ballbusters.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. It doesn't look like it's any good for me.
It's an adventure film involving kids from the 80s. Like it was just something that a lot of us grew up on. There is a ton of nostalgia attached to that. So I'll grant you that. However, it's got early Josh Brolin in it. It's got early fucking Samwise Gamgee's in it.
Nope, she doesn't care about those people. She doesn't know who they are. It doesn't matter to her. There's a pirate ship. There's buried treasure. There's an adventure. There's a monster in a dungeon. There are evil people chasing them. It's everything you need for a great adventure.
There are homemade gadgets that do all kinds of crazy shit.
Straight up MacGyverisms. Yes, ma'am.
I know who Josh Brolin is. I know who Samwise Gamgee is, and I know who I can't remember little Asian dude's name.
But that doesn't answer the dying question on everyone's lips. Can you do the truffle shuffle?
Don't make her do the truffle shuffle, man. That's something that we make Dermy do on camera because he's got rolls.
Don't know what it is. Don't care to.
It's from the Goonies. Anyway. No, there's a fat kid. They make him pull his shirt
and there's
up
one
and wiggle his
answered
belly
wish
around.
as well. One answered wish in the Goonies. A real, legitimate, no BS. A wish was answered from throwing a coin into the well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, it's a fun movie, but like if you're not interested in it, like again, Gal, I don't require homework. I throw a
I
bunch
know.
of suggestions at you.
I
Even offline, I will tell Gal to watch or read things. And I was like, I fully expect her to only watch and read things she actually has an interest in. I'm just gonna keep throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks.
I put terms out there that I would watch the Goonies if Adam watches Alice in Borderland.
Hey, I kind of liked Alice in Borderland.
Kinda, excuse me, that is an amazing show.
I didn't see it because it's anime.
It's
but
not anime, it's live action. Technically, there's a manga that it's adapting.
But it's entirely built on a social lore and history and contract that I know nothing about. They do things for reasons that make no sense to me because I don't understand the Japanese lore or Korean lore behind it or whatever. I don't know why they're doing the things they're doing when they look at some symbol and they're like, oh, that's lucky. Okay. I mean, if I understood what was going on, it would make sense. Now, it's an enjoyable flick to watch. I sit through the whole thing. It's pretty. It's well done and well made, but
are we talking about the same thing? It's a show.
Alice in Borderland. Yeah, it's a show. It's well done.
You said movie. Okay.
Words. They come out.
No, you're fine. I was just making sure because I'm like, sit and watch. Like in one sitting because it's a show.
Well, no, I do things like that. I might watch eight shows.
I speak is real good. Yeah. No, I don't know. That sounds probably like a fair trade. I made a similar trade with Dermy about he's got to watch all Stargate and I've got to watch all of One Piece. You know,
she would hate Evil Dead. The original Evil Dead.
Yeah, Evil Dead does not look like my jam.
Okay, first of all, don't watch the first one. Watch Evil Dead 2. It's a better movie, and it's basically the same movie, but better. You know, Evil Dead 2 it is essentially a remake of the first movie.
Yeah, it really is.
But better
remake, even in the same cabin. They
made by the same people.
Yes, same actors, actresses, everything. Just like a couple of bucks for spent on some adhesive duct tape and a little bit of rubber cement and trees.
If I watch that, will you watch Alice in Borderland?
Who are you talking to here?
You.
Me? Probably not.
Rude.
It's not really a fair
I just don't have any interest in Alice in Borderland. Nothing about that reaches out and grabs me and says, hey, you should watch this.
What do you know
Not
about
much besides some visual stuff. That's usually all it takes for me to either be
it's
interested or not interested in the thing.
It's a live action.
It's very Asian though, right?
Very
Asian people, yeah.
Entirely Asian. That's what I mean by the tropes don't land.
I have trouble with a lot of Asian stuff because like Sasquatch was saying, because of the cultural divide. There's so much shit that I don't get, and
I can't even think of anything in Alice in Borderland that would be you need to understand their culture. But maybe because I'm so entrenched in it.
90% of the dialogue. Well, okay, I'll be joking. 45% of the dialogue are representative of things that these people knew before they reached this point in the story. And a lot of it has to do with little silly things like going right instead of left when you don't know which to go, because that's a luck thing. If you don't have any information in Japanese tradition, you take the right path because right is correct. And there's no more logic to it than that. But then you have other people do it.
You're talking about the first episode?
I'm talking about a bunch of different parts of it. There's a lot of cultural stuff in that series that you're aware of. You know it's there. You're just not seeing it as a problem because you're familiar with it.
I'm not familiar. The example you just said has nothing to do with my knowledge of the Japanese culture.
I'll buy that.
Let me put this out there. So, Gal, I'm one of those like test the thing by its cover kind of thing, kind of people. It's not necessarily judged by like full on judge or whatever, but like when I choose to watch something or don't watch something, it has very little to do with how much I actually know about what the product is. It has to do with like some detail, some small thing or whatever, just kind of grabbed me. And I'm like, huh, I want to know more. But it's usually just some random shit. Do you know why I watched Cocaine Bear? The title.
That's
Turns
what
out
I'm
I love that movie.
hoping.
But it wasn't like, that's why I went to see Snakes on a Plane. I didn't know shit about that movie except the title, which, by the way, is pretty much the whole movie. Like, it's very on the nose, but
I am very similar. There's a reason I did not watch One Piece when it came out, and
yeah,
I
same
didn't
here.
start it until last year, and it's because I didn't like. I thought it looked stupid. Like I judge things very similarly based not entirely off the cover.
I always
but
thought it
has
was
to
about
have
a bathing suit.
I don't do
turns
it
out not
just
so
on
much.
title alone. I do it on the visual of it as well, and maybe like a description. There is a Korean drama that I watched because I was in. Oh God, should I admit this live? I think I already have. I was in more of a like romance kind of mood for a show, but it also had like supernatural abilities tied into it to where I was like, okay, this sounds kind of interesting. And it turned into way more supernatural ability type of situation than the romance. Like it was a very intriguing, great ass show, and I freaking love it. So I'm very similar, and I'm glad that I watched that show. And but I guess because it's Alice in Borderland, you don't want to watch it. The title. Is that what you were trying to get at for me?
No, that's like what I was getting at was it's usually some small thing. Like in this case, I don't think it is the title. There's just something about it. I was just like, okay, whatever. You know, I don't know that much about it. You're right. You know, I've seen a couple of promos, I think, here and there. I've heard people talk about it. You know, you most prominently because you're obviously a fan. But yeah, there's nothing about it. Like the title's cool, but that's not. It doesn't like make me go like, hey, I want to see this. You know, like
well, honestly,
heard what little I have about it, it's nothing has jumped out and grabbed me and said, hey, you need to go see some more of this. Like it's usually something very small. Most of the time, I don't even know what it is. It's just like, huh.
There are some excellent scenes. There's some magnificent filming in it. It's very pretty. It's very well done, but at the same time, it doesn't reach out and grab me. It's something that I put on because it's noise and pretty, and then it clean the house.
Did you watch it in okay, so you watched it in English.
Yeah. And of course I didn't watch it in Japanese. What are you talking about? What would be
so much better in Japanese?
How? If I can't understand a word they're saying, how does it become better?
You just read the read the subtitles. Don't youngin me.
No.
Sir.
If I
Can you not read?
Someone in Japan, I would utilize Google Translate. I wouldn't go and watch a show where someone else has translated something again and again. Right? When I watch it in English, I am aware the translations aren't quite perfect, right? The voice acting sometimes doesn't quite fit. I can make allowances for that. I don't have an issue with that as much as I do of not recognizing what's supposed to be referencing some specific ancient demon that I don't know what is. I mean, you know, there's a bunch of cultural stuff in there that just doesn't carry over into the American psyche. And that's not the showmaker's fault. It's just a byproduct of Netflix trying to shove everything manga down everyone's throat. It's wild. And you love it. And that's fine.
So I watched it in Japanese first, and then had when our mom was here, my brother and I wanted her to watch it because it is such a good show. But we weren't going to make her read because her eyesight's not the greatest and she's not used to reading the subtitles. So we had her watch it in English, and it is so much less impactful just based on the like voice acting. Honestly, it's the voice acting that really just doesn't hit the same. I don't know. Whatever. Carry on.
Fair enough. I'll watch some things subtitled and some things not. It kind of depends on what it is and what the
Like
language is and what my mood is.
We've
I
had this
watched
conversation before.
like I don't know if did you watch Better Than Us in English or with subtitles?
No, I watched it in Russian, but I actually have a little
Well,
bit
you-
of background in Russian too, so that yeah.
So RRR I watched in Hindi with subtitles.
I
There was
still
no
haven't
way
watched that.
Check out
Dude,
the
Chris
movie.
Gore spent 2 years saying, watch this movie over and over again so many times he
You're
made
so
me not want to.
There's a reason. And I half the takes that Chris Gore has stuff I disagree with. RRR is not one of them. That movie
Yeah,
is
it's just
phenomenal.
I like Chris Gore a lot, but he did nothing but talk about that one movie for like 2 fucking years straight. And it put me off the whole thing.
I understand that feeling, by the way, because if someone wants me to watch something like a lot and keeps pushing on it, I end up pulling in the opposite direction. So I get that. I do. And One Piece actually was one of those things. And my brother was the one that finally convinced me to watch it. And a lot of it had to do with he'd be watching a show or he wanted to show me something from it. But I walk into his room to ask him something and I'd see it and I'd kind of stay there because I was interested and I was like, oh crap, I need to go do what I was doing. So some of it had to do with that. Game of Thrones, I didn't watch it until season 7 was already over. And a lot of it had to do with the popularity. And everybody was just like, oh, you need to watch this. I'm like, okay, I won't. So I get that. And then I lost a bet and watched it and loved it. So I miss out on things. And so
There's a Russian film called Soldier Boy. It's about this little kid who gets sucked into World War II and can't get evacuated because every time he goes to get evacuated, the truck blows up. And so they finally decide he's safer here in the base than he is trying to leave because it's like 6 times they try. And he just says, screw it, and tries to sign up. Right. And as a byproduct of the way the Russian military works, he can't, naturally, he's a 6-year-old kid, a 7-year-old kid. But then he's suddenly been on the front line longer than most of your soldiers after a week or two. The commanders are starting to respect him more than they do the fucking new guy that just walked in. Right. Because when this kid says he's going to go do something, he does it. There are 2 versions of this movie available. One is subtitled, one is not. Doesn't matter. You don't need subtitles to watch and enjoy this entire film. You don't need to know exactly what they're saying. It's written right there on the screen. And I don't mean as subtitles. I mean in the plot, in the interactions, the emotions, what's going on.
It's filmed so well that it tells a story with or without dialogue. It tells the story without
dialogue. The dialogue is secondary to the story itself. And I'm sure it's quite interesting, but I don't speak Russian, so
Yeah, so I don't know. It just kind of, like I said, it depends on the product itself. I don't read manga, for example. I will not read manga. Everything about reading the wrong fucking direction bothers me. So that's never gonna happen. We got the Shadow's always he's saying oh, you got to read Berserk, and I'm like, the fuck I do. I don't have to read it because number 1, it's torture porn and misery porn, and number 2, I got to read it back to front. I'm not doing that. So I don't care if it's correct in Japan. It's not over here. Everybody seems mad at me now.
I've said my piece as well.
I'm not mad at you.
Right. Look, hey, I'm not saying that I'm never, ever, ever going to watch Alice in Borderlands. I'm saying that right now, aside from your recommendation, I don't really have a good reason to because I'm not that interested. It may happen at some point. But I also learned my lesson with Dermy. I'm not going to make any deals on stream anymore either. So if we come to a deal, it will be offline. That's all I'm saying.
That way you can back out with a clear conscience or at least a clear reputation.
Right?
One Piece is great. I don't know why you're being rude about
I
it.
have a.
It's so
I have a
fucking long,
policy.
and where I'm at is so boring.
Oh, it gets better later. Don't worry about that. No, that's
Yeah,
8 hours out of my life I will never get back.
No,
Because
no,
you
Yeah,
say
but
it's
no,
better later.
didn't
no,
you?
no, not 8 hours. I'm like 50 hours into the anime.
But no, I said 18.
You watched the filler though.
I have to watch all of it. It's part of the deal.
I don't think he meant the Boss Luffy episodes.
No, he did.
Well, don't make dumbass deals with Dermy. There's an
Like I said,
alliteration
I
for you.
learned my lesson.
Stop.
that.
What if I renegotiated the deal so you could actually enjoy what you're watching? He
I don't
listens to
think
me.
Dermy wants that. I think
I'm not
Dermy's
currently
doing this
watching filler episodes, and it's fucking boring.
Where are you at? Is it after Thriller Bark and I'm not there yet?
Oh yeah, I'm
After Boa
a
Hancock.
ways past Thriller Bark. I'm on fucking I can't remember the name of the place. Doflamingo's place.
That is a great question, actually.
Well, he was. I don't know if he's finished it or not. He's had plenty of time to do it, but yeah, he was, and he was enjoying it very much. But the last I talked to him about it was like 8 months ago, so I don't know. I should check in with him about that. Thanks for the reminder.
Yeah.
I have a guilty secret.
Yeah.
I really, really liked Stargate Universe.
That's not.
Destiny.
I like it too. I think season 2 of that is, or the second half of season 1 or whatever the fuck, is actually quite a bit better than the first. Like it really picks up.
Yeah,
I have to rewatch it.
Right towards the end, it goes to hell in a bucket because everybody's acting as everybody else, which is really interesting to watch when they do the body swaps and stuff. It's really interesting to watch, like one guy try to be or dude pretend that he's this other chick that's just body hopping to be there. It's really interesting. At the same time, it's kind of crap.
Yeah. I think they could do without Chloe, but otherwise I like the show.
Right? That's exactly what I was.
So what were you saying, Gal?
In there though, right?
Oh, I was just saying that I probably watched it once when I was too young, not too young to remember, but like for my brain, I don't remember it. Recently I fell off of rewatching Atlantis. So, and what I like to do is when I start SG1, once it gets to like meeting the first Atlantis people, I start watching them in tandem, like the way they were aired. Because, there's like I use a guide and everything, and I just hadn't gotten to Universe because I was still only like halfway through Atlantis. So I just
it's virtually unrelated to anything in the other series because it goes so far beyond the previous series lore.
Yeah,
that it might as well be its own thing. Pretty much is.
SG1 is perfection to me. The first season is not the best, obviously, but.
Yeah, like ATL Transparency News is asking why did they stop that show? I can tell you why. It's because Sci-Fi wasn't seeing the viewership numbers they were hoping for. Part of the problem is that the showrunners were tired of doing the same exact formula for a series, which they had done for a combined total of 15 seasons with SG1 and Atlantis. Right. And so they were essentially the similar formula. They were different shows. They were different shows with different casts and different feels, but the formula was more or less the same. Yeah. And so they wanted to do something a little different, a little grittier, a little bit more. I hesitate to use the phrase grounded in realism because, I mean, come on. But
it exists, and Sam.
They were also coming off of watching the massive success of the Battlestar Galactica remake, which was very gritty.
There was also Battlestar Galactica. There were new sci-fi stuff coming out, and they looked at the idea of making a 17th season and competing with hot units.
That's the thing about SGU is that it was almost a complete 180 in format from the other Stargate shows. OG Stargate fans hated it, so they didn't watch. New potential fans were like, "What the fuck is this? It's just like Battlestar Galactica remake, so
Just
they
an
didn't
isekai.
watch. It was the
It's an
whole thing.
isekai show. That's what it is. It's an isekai show. Homie sitting around at home hammering away on some 10-year-old video game that has this one puzzle nobody solved.
You
And then Jack
literally,
reports to the front door.
Andy,
Like,
that was Fox, not Sci-Fi Channel.
you just broke me. How the hell do you know what isekai is? And you just
Sasquatch
said
has everything. I had to ask what isekai was the other day when I think it was Gal said something about that. So I was like,
I think I just heard.
I was like, I don't speak weeb.
I might have dated an Asian chick or two.
You can tell I've been hanging out with Gal though, because somebody else said isekai in a sentence on a show I was on last night, and I knew what they meant, and I only knew what they meant thanks to my friend Gal, who explained it to me. Still don't totally get the concept.
Let's take a twist on this whole conversation. Best Star Trek ship. Not episodes, not series, not seasons, nothing specific like that. Specifically the best ship.
Specifically Federation ship, flagship, or any ship in Stargate canon.
Star Trek.
Star Trek canon.
In Stargate, it'll end up being Destiny.
I disagree. But sure.
Star Trek.
Star Trek. The USS Defiant.
Oh, I like that.
Because it's a warship, and it's got all kinds of badass little goodies.
It's got all the goodies, man. All the
Technically, it's an escort, quote unquote, but it's a warship. And it's like a badass little ship.
As a bunch of scientists were like, okay, so they're going to try to kill us. It's like, yeah, we got stuff that'll kill them. And the dudes over there with the magnifying glasses were like, oh, yeah, we sure do. Put them all on it. All of them? Okay.
Dude, it's got 2 separate banks of quad pulse phasers on the front end. There's only one reason for that. It's to drill a hole in the other guy. And it's also the only Federation ship that has, on loan from the Romulan Empire, a cloaking device.
Bum, bum, bum. Okay, so with all that being said, I liked the first Enterprise, Star Trek Enterprise, the old series with Archer, after it went through the warp space. Once half its systems have been rebuilt by Ryloths and other, they've got a bunch of alien tech in there. It has morphed from a science ship to a basically point defense destroyer, for lack of a better term. They had added asteroid chuckers, all kinds of stuff. But the thing is, it's got this real Mad Max grunge to it. That's what I love about it. It's not the squeaky clean Star Trek future that you're used to. Things get dirty and gritty in Enterprise.
Yeah, that was some cool stuff. Gal,
I'm not Trekkie enough to answer that question.
I know that's what I was like. I don't know if she'd have a good answer for this, because she doesn't know the stuff
have
so much.
To involve all of the lore. All it needs to involve is your choice of a ship.
The only one I actually know of is the Enterprise.
Which
that's
one?
how much of a Trekkie I'm not. Exactly. You say which one, and I'm like, okay.
There are 7 of them.
Yeah, unless you count timelines. But anyway.
So I have to abstain from this conversation and have.
All right. So we're gonna hang Voyager on her because it's Star Trek Light Voyager for women. Star Trek for women, so she gets Voyager. And personally, I
do that to her.
Anyway, is the better captain myself. And
shut your goddamn dirty whore mouth.
The dude in Deep Space Nine, notwithstanding, because he's like the chosen one or something.
Cisco is amazing, first of all.
That's what
As
I
a
know.
captain,
He doesn't
before
count.
he became a god.
He's not exactly. He's not a captain, bro. Like that's the thing is he doesn't just run a ship. He runs an entire sector of space and then takes over the universe. So that doesn't count, dude. You can't.
Yeah, and wins a war against many superpowers. By the way,
So
before
bro.
he became a god, he was a
These
brilliant
things
commander.
are not unrelated, though. You can't sit here and tell me that he became a god and didn't take over his own sector of space. That wouldn't make any sense.
No, that's not what happened. I mean, he became a god and he went away and stayed away.
Yeah, I know. But before he became a god, he took over his section of space.
Right. As a commander, and a brilliant one at that. It as far as wartime commanders go in Star Trek, nobody beats Cisco.
You want to answer this?
He's not a great diplomat, I'll give you that. He's not like Picard level diplomacy or anything. He's not at all. And the fact that he hates Picard personally probably plays into that.
But what I'm getting at is this. Tiberius is going to win through plucky heart, plucky determinism, and no quit, right? He's not a special genius, but he's a tactical genius to such a level that people think he's stupid. Like they see what he's doing, they go, "What are you doing? Stop!" You're like, "Nope, I'm gonna do it." And it works. It works because he's a tactical genius. Picard is a diplomatic genius and a strategic mastermind. But as far as individual tactics, that's why he had Riker. Janeway is both.
Janeway has broken every fucking rule that the Federation ever laid out, and some of them she's done it twice.
You got me to box, bro.
On top of that, she's been inadvertently complicit in several genocides.
That's why I choose her. She
woke up the Vaudouar. She brought fucking species 8472 into contact with the Borg. Like she did things that any sane person, any sane tribunal would consider fucking crimes against the galaxy.
She does it with a cup of coffee the whole time. That's why I like Jane.
There is an entire mission storyline in Star Trek Online, the video game, where you spend your whole time going through the fucking Delta Quadrant cleaning up her fucking mistakes.
Okay. Like, their mistakes.
She's the shittest captain ever.
No, she's the shittest captain to run into if you're not part of Star Trek. She was just trying to get home, bro. All the other damage that took place was just a byproduct of trying to go home. One mission. All else fell by the wayside. I can respect that.
I'll grant you that, yeah. And she did eventually get home with, of course, the assistance of a number of beings and peoples that maybe making an alliance with is not such a good idea. But she did eventually get her people home. I'll give you that. And they fucking promoted her for it without going over any of her logs or anything, because otherwise she'd be in a fucking brig for the rest of her life.
No, they'd just shot her in the back of the head. What would have happened, dude? This is an entirely peaceful, pacifist society of the what was it? Starfleet is not going to knowingly do this sort of thing. And so all of those records went to hell in a bucket just as soon as she made port. None of that stuff ever came out. It's not even a thing. Mm-hmm. There is no Gamma Quadrant or wherever the hell she was. We know nothing about it. Nothing. Of course, the guys in dark boots, they've got all those records.
Yeah. Plus, if we're being perfectly honest, outside of a handful of episodes each season, Voyager is a boring show.
Star Trek Light, Star Trek for women.
Yeah. It's like, if Star Trek was aired by Lifetime and not Paramount.
Yep. And I personally believe Star Trek Voyager began the girl boss ascent.
Oh, it absolutely did. It absolutely did. Like all that shit we just discussed.
On me. because I hate
that-
Lifetime and
That's why I said it wasn't fair.
girl bosses.
He did defend you on that. Stop white knighting, you evil, deep, corrupt.
No, I just know
No,
my
he
friend.
was-
She hates that shit.
Yeah, I was just like, no, he was using logic, sir.
Oh, yeah. No, it's good stuff. But so we do have a couple of other things to get into that I do want to talk about. Something that definitely has to be brought up at the least, so that people remember. Everybody in chat, you see behind us here, we've got the. Let's see if I can pull this up like so. Nope, that's not going to fucking work. All right, let's drop us down. Maybe. Why aren't the fucking layouts working? I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, let me see if I have to fix something here real quick. Drop to this. See if we can. No, none of the layouts are fucking working. That's bizarre.
I can't even do the round things on mine. It doesn't let me.
Yeah, but I
option.
can't get like the basic layout options. There we go. Oh, now it's fucking doing shit. Still, that's in the way.
Yeah, 20
Also
minutes
in the
later,
way.
done doing it.
Unless that was you, Gal. Was that you moving him around? Try the one on the far right.
You're muted.
Sorry, I forgot I was typing again and I muted. It was the first one I tried was the far right one. But let me see. No.
Yeah, those aren't working for some reason.
Weird.
That's so fucking weird. Okay, well, either way.
No, thank you.
Oh,
That
I
was
don't
bad.
like that.
That was awful. My bad.
Yeah, it's
Sorry, I'll stop playing.
yeah, it's
No.
Take everyone down for a second.
Yeah.
all
That
right.
was what he was.
Boop, boop, boop. Yep. Just keep pressing buttons.
God damn it.
it.
All right. This is the technical difficulties portion of the show where we dick around and hopefully it comes out not looking too terrible. But yeah, so you guys saw the background, right? So I have obviously changed that background a while back, a few months ago, to reflect something that I think should not be forgotten and has been memory holed by the media. And yeah, so a while back, a dude named Crooks took a pot shot at the former president of the United States. Did manage to clip his ear, didn't manage to kill him, but did kill one other person and injured several others who have recovered since. This week, almost a week ago exactly, there was another attempt out on a golf course. I don't remember which one, but yeah, they're going to keep trying, folks. They're going to keep trying. And I think it's important that we bring this shit up because the left is now saying that the first one wasn't an attempt and the second one didn't happen.
So therefore wasn't an attempt.
Yeah.
Should have just let the guy do what he
or-
was
or-
doing.
Yeah, the first one was faked and the second one wasn't an attempt at all. He just happened to be there shooting in the general direction or whatever.
Mhm.
Right.
Behind
shit.
cover.
Rifle.
Yeah. I don't want to.
Hold on. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I don't know about Florida, but in Georgia, if you fire a gun from a highway easement, that's a felony right off the top. No further discussion. Simply firing a firearm from a roadway is by definition that's a felony. You don't get to plea that stuff down either. How come Home Cuz isn't hooked up with any charges like that?
He's not going to be. He's not going to be
Yeah.
hooked up with any charges at all. It's surprising that they even took him alive.
Yep.
Because now he's got if people ask him questions, they can ask him
If
questions.
he
Like
says
that's
the wrong thing.
Well, they
honestly,
got
that's
him.
why I think Crooks is dead. Is because yeah.
You seen the
Well,
Ukrainian interview?
I have seen the
Yep.
Ukrainian interview, and talk about your
Look
classic
at his fingers.
definitive fucking tool.
Yeah,
Yep.
look at his fingers in that video. Go back and look at his fingers. That man has had someone go to work on him with a pair of pliers. Go look at his fingers.
I'm gonna have to check that out. I didn't pay that much attention to his fingers so much as the idiotic shit he was saying with the stupid smile on his face, which made me think that he was on drugs.
Useful
because of the way he was speaking, because of what he was saying.
You're roboting.
It was very measured.
Sam.
He had that. Am I? Yeah.
Like it stopped. I think. I just not sure if there's a delay.
Yeah, but the way he was speaking was very measured, and he had this stupid grin on his face, like that, like this hint of a grin, and he was like choosing his words.
You know,
and it seemed he was on some kind of drug.
No, you know what he reminded me of? I've seen this look on people's faces before. If you go to a Southern Baptist tent revival and you go find one of them 25-year-old guys that's dancing around with the choir, and you go look in his eyes when they reach the point of the sermon where they start yelling and screaming all of their, I don't remember what they call it. It's not speaking in tongues, but it's like calling out to the Lord or whatever. Anyway, there's a reason they do it. Find one of them guys and go look them straight in the eyes. You'll see exactly the same glassy, drugged up look that you see here, but those guys are stone cold sober. And that guy there might be stone cold sober, but he's a zealot.
Well, that's madness, is what that is.
Yes.
No, it is. It's okay. Madness. There are people who are batshit fucking crazy who have that same glassy look in their eye.
Yep.
Like that's where that comes from. It's because they're not seeing you. They're not seeing the world around you. They're seeing something else entirely.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not wrong. All right, what else?
Well, if the second one was a wannabe Lee Harvey, shouldn't we have a wannabe Jack Kirby too?
Jack Ruby?
Ruby, that's it. Jack Ruby.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was wondering about that. I was very much wondering about that because the first one went down. This one's got to go somewhere, or else the reality will come out eventually. If he stays alive, he stays a threat to whoever it was that pulled the strings on this.
Yeah. Like, even if he's all in, even if he's 100% a true believer, there's always a chance he's going to slip up at some point. You can't have that. You know, even if he doesn't mean to. Maybe he buys a hooker and he talks in his sleep. Who knows?
Yeah, right.
I'm sure that's exactly what didn't happen with Senator Swalwell. I'm just saying. You know, like, if you're gonna bang a Chinese spy, at least she was a good looking one, right? Oh. But yeah, I did want to just bring that up just to make sure that people, and I'm probably going to keep bringing that up week to week, just so that, you know, like somebody's got to be out here saying, look, don't forget about this. This happened, right? I don't know all the facts and the details about it. I just know what we all have seen. And I'm sure there are people much more qualified to explain this shit than I am. But something happened. There was another attempt. I was hearing this thing the other day about there was a Trump rally, I think in, I want to say Texas or Arizona or some shit like that, where there were people complaining after they left of pain and burning sensations in their eyes, as if there had been some kind of chemical attack. You know, that's been hushed up pretty fast too. Yeah,
dioxin. I'm expecting a dioxin attack on President Trump, former President Trump.
Like, it's possible that something like that has already happened, but the Secret Service is, of course, saying we have no knowledge of such an incident. Well, of course you don't, because you guys are either completely incompetent or you're complicit. That's very, very fucking clear to anybody with eyes over the last 2 months.
Yeah, I'm starting to think maybe rather than giving them more money, we should start reducing the Secret Service and letting them hire their own private security.
No, Cavitano, it was what was her name? Like Fang Fang or some shit like that.
Yes, Fang Fang. But you beg me as a good lad.
Yeah,
it's a good one.
Better than holy food.
Trophy for tonight, dude. You're the one.
Yeah, it was in Tucson. Static, thank you. He'd know. He's in Arizona.
Yeah.
So, but this is just something that I read briefly that came to my attention. I was like, they are not going to stop. There is a legitimate question as to whether or not the Trump administration will even survive to November.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and what do you reckon happens hypothetically? Let's say somehow something happens and the nominee Trump is eliminated. Does JD Vance get plugged into that space like Kamala did, or do you think the Democrats are going to lose their freaking shit?
I think war happens.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't think we get elections after that. I think war happens.
Yep.
And I think that it's extremely short-sighted, right? Not to mention totally un-American to try and fucking wipe out your political opponents. It's not un-American to go to other countries and wipe out their political opponents, but it is definitely un-American to do it here. Despite the fact that we have what I think 4 presidents who were assassinated and a number of others who survived assassination attempts.
Static. Say it ain't so, man. Oh my God, that makes too much sense.
They can give it to Haley all they like. Like I said, I don't think elections happen after that. I think that the administration that's currently in place declares martial law and extends, and I mean, that they're trying to start World War III too, right? When was the last time we were involved in a major conflict somewhere and the incumbent didn't win?
Yeah.
It's never happened in the United States. Now, the incumbent here isn't running because he's been told to step down, but his vice president is still part of the same administration. I think that's why they're trying so hard to start a fucking nuclear war with Russia, is because this gives them every advantage to just continue doing what they're fucking doing.
Oh my God, how do you run on the platform of change while currently being in office? Well,
it's really simple. It's really, really, really simple, though. Okay. So they keep talking about commie talking points. In some cases, they're quoting Marx and Engels directly. Right? Commies promise lots and lots and lots of shit. They only deliver death, starvation, and murder.
Mm-hmm.
Ergo, commies are liars.
Yes.
So it just comes down to that. That's how they run on that platform, because they're lying. There's not going to be any change. If there was going to be change, it would have happened already. She's been in office for fucking 4 years. They are lying.
What's up, Dankster? Welcome in. Appreciate you coming through.
Yeah. So yeah, but no, I don't think. I think that our entire country falls apart if they kill former President Trump. And I'm not saying this as a Trump fanboy. I'm saying this as I'm looking at which way the wind is blowing. Everybody's dancing on a fucking razor here. Everybody across the board. There's so much goddamn tension in this country. It ain't going to take much to push us over that edge.
And see, even Andy, what Dems do, like it depending on what Dems do, is literally where we're at right now. Of it, just even in that topic, Dems will be the ones that do that. So we're just waiting for them to do that, and we'll react in kind. I'm trying not to.
Will
say
we?
I know.
Well, I'm just saying.
I think that will be the catalyst if that happens.
Yes, I hear you.
Big if, obviously. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it doesn't happen and dude survives. But I hope he lives many, many years and dies in bed years later, surrounded by his fat grandchildren or whatever. Honestly, I don't really wish any other kind of death on anybody. Not really, except pedophiles. Fuck those guys. Burn them alive in the streets like they do down in Brazil. I'm good with that.
I knew you'd enjoy me sharing that.
I didn't watch the video because I don't enjoy watching death.
Right.
Not real death, but I did enjoy the post. Yes. So that's what happens though? Like, say this happens, Galia, I think you're right. It starts a catalyst. So that is the thing that pushes the one side into finally saying enough and starts violently pushing back, right? Which gives the people in charge right now all the excuse that they need to declare martial law and go to war against their own citizens, which is what they've been itching for fucking years.
That was the point of January 6th. They thought they were going to be able to trigger something violent to take place. And even though
the administration
it wasn't very violent at all, they still tried to push the super ultra violent narrative, even though it wasn't there. Meanwhile, not 8 months before, you had freaking Black Bloc Antifa outside setting fire to places and calling in bomb threats everywhere. And don't remember nothing about that. That never happened. Don't know what you mean.
Dude, I've got a bunch of fucking clips of posts put out recently where people are claiming that Chaz didn't happen. That Chuck didn't happen.
Chaz. You know, if I'd known
it absolutely did. And not only did it do that, did it happen, but technically under US fucking law, that's seditious behavior.
Yes.
It's sedition. It is you're attempting, like, the whole thing about the way the country's set up now, where you have to get like a certain amount.
Oh, we lost you again.
There he went.
He's gone to the deep depths of the shitter net.
A certain amount is the last we caught. Yeah. If you can hear us, Sam, I think he's going to drop soup.
Right now, he's over there cursing like a sailor, spitting fire, vitriol everywhere, talking about how he's going to hunt down the people who installed his internet, devour their souls in the deep, dark depths of this prison.
There it is. It's back. I'm back.
Hey, hello. Hi.
I got shut down for speaking truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's exactly what
I was expecting something from YouTube, but your internet works as a close second.
Here's the thing, Gal. The authorities know who I am. They know who I am since 1994.
Well, I figure if you're not on the list, you're probably not.
There are files.
Yeah. I mean, I was employed by the government,
and it's not.
They got files,
right? I've been employed by government several times, but I've also been associated with certain people who were associated with people who have files as thick as the ceiling, from the floor to the ceiling, with the FBI and the DOJ. So I'm mentioning in a couple of things that I didn't actually have anything to do with, because I knew people who knew people.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So, but yeah, they've known who I am for quite some time. Wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, anyway, I didn't even remember what the fuck I was ranting about.
Oh my God, Sam! Oh no! Oh shit! Had he even started ranting like he knew exactly where it happened, it would have been perfection. Oh shit! I cannot believe that's
pretty good.
It's amazing. Yes, absolutely. He's not ready to get back into it. Holy shit! How does that even happen? I wonder if he'll come back this time. No.
Oh, it's good stuff, man. Oh, I thank you for bringing me in on this one. This was good. That was worth it. Yeah, check to see if you got any lead razors. Red lasers.
Lead razors. All right.
It's not going to be very good. Right? Not sure what to do from this position.
I mean, I have control. I can. I can be takeover.
You should be the one with all the unlimited power behind you.
That's true. Yes, that's true.
Right.
Yeah. I just don't know how to rant in the same way for it to then take me out.
Right.
But yeah, this all sucks.
There's no good outcome for anything that I can see, because there's no reason to think they'll stop when he's elected.
Right.
So it is ultimately, at least as far as Sun Tzu states, the results are inevitable.
Yeah.
If they keep trying, someone will succeed. And God forbid, that's just the way chances work. You know?
I mean, we're teetering on the edge of the knife where the 200-year curse, let's say, is coming to a head.
So, do you think this great experiment before us has failed completely?
No.
That's one difference between America and the rest of the nations on earth is America wasn't founded on the concept of government. It was founded on the concept of self-governance. And then this experiment began, and a republic, if you can keep it. Turns out we can't.
Well, it's not that we can't, it's we allowed outside influences to be those influences. And it has
Manifest Destiny 2. The manifestos.
Yeah.
Hi, Sam.
I learned my lesson. I got spanked twice. No, I'm just kidding. Fuck the Fed.
It was just so perfect though, because you were basically literally you were saying, I don't know where I ended, and then you just disappeared. Like you were ready to start back in, even though it wouldn't exactly be it.
Short.
So
yeah, it wasn't anything nefarious. The signal just dropped. Like as I was saying, I don't remember where I was the last time the signal dropped, but here we are.
Yep. It was great.
It's fine. It's fine. It is what it is. I got one more thing. Well, I mean, there's a couple of things that have been going on worldwide that have been pretty funny. Both China has been talking shit, and freaking Klaus Schwab came out and was talking about how libertarianism needs to be stamped out because it's a threat to the state. He's right. But yeah, he's on the wrong side of that equation in terms of good and evil, I think. And I'm not a libertarian, but I God damn it, there it goes again.
I mean, we could still hear you, and you saying "God
good."
damn it, there it goes again." Didn't like it. You weren't roboting, so.
Oh, good. Oh, good. So yeah, I can swear as much as I like, but God forbid I question the powers that be. Right?
Exactly.
Valid.
That's why I speak always in euphemism and metaphor.
I prefer to be a little more direct because I think they need to hear me. Yeah.
Actually, Andy, they go hand in hand. The domestic failure allowed the foreign influence. Like, it was both. I think we might have lost Sam since he's silent.
No, I was listening.
I
didn't think you were finished.
No, I was basically. That's just my opinion on it, at least. Like, there was nothing more profound to be said.
I tend to agree that there has been a lot of domestic failure, but I think that is in proportion to the amount of foreign meddling. And when I say foreign meddling, I'm not talking about like Russian bots or whatever. I'm sure that happens, but I don't think it's nearly the threat that people say it is. As much as, say, lobbyist groups like AIPAC, for example, exerting an enormous amount of influence when they are in fact a foreign lobby group, people who are connected with the WEF, which is a foreign banking consolidation, basically calling the shots, Gavin Newsom, fucking even Joe Biden, like a lot of these guys who are up there, even to an extent, Tulsi Gabbard is connected to those fucking people. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, she's great. She's great. Well, first of all, no, she's not. She's a fucking leftist. And secondly, she's connected to the WEF. I don't know what to tell you guys. I don't trust the woman. I think that in some ways she has her head on straight, but I also think that she's a bit of the Judas goat. Like they make a public example of her to be like, oh, look, some of the lefties are kind of right thinking people, and this is what happens to them, blah, blah, blah. And I think that that's voluntary on her part. I think some of that shit that she went through with the fucking View was staged to a degree. You know, so I don't think she can be trusted. Is what I'm getting at.
I don't.
Among others. I'm shutting up now. What now?
Oh no, I was saying I don't either. I
Hi,
was agreeing with
Sam.
I'm
I mean,
here.
I
I'm just
feel
trying to
s-
make sure that I'll shut up now.
I feel similarly about RFK even, and
Oh yeah, absolutely.
there's a lot of concessions that Trump is making, and like RFK could be a very good influence on like the healthcare side of things, but at the same time, I don't trust him.
Well, there are only two kinds of Kennedys in politics, right? The ones that toe the line like Teddy,
And
and the
dead
ones who
Kennedys.
don't like everybody else. Right? So like even if he can be trusted, how long is he going to last, really?
Yeah, right. That's the other question of it too.
You know,
Like, is he going to be able to do anything in the 4 years?
right. You know, will he even survive the 4 years? Because like
Yes.
unfortunately,
There's
they
a
haven't
curse.
created a bulletproof Kennedy yet.
It's true.
You know, they tried with Maria Shriver when she married Schwarzenegger, but it didn't work out.
Right. There needs to be like a check and balance.
What a novel idea. Perhaps if we utilize 3 segments of government and we utilize each one to check and balance the powers of the other, and we use actual elections to elect the official. By Joe, I think you've got it.
Yep. Cavatello said JFK Jr. So was his father. So was RFK's father. Right. This is like a pattern with these people. You know, I think even RFK Sr. wasn't even in office yet. He was running for office when he was assassinated. Right. Like he was in the middle of his campaign. Yeah.
That was Sirhan, wasn't it? That was Robert Kennedy.
Yeah.
He was walking the kitchen out of the DNC at the time. He was going the back way because the other place had some fracas place, and they decided to take him out through the kitchen instead of going out to where they had originally planned on him exiting. And Sirhan, the company had a whole bunch of copies of Catcher in the Rye. You figure that one out.
Yeah, no, that's 100%. And I worry because I think even if Trump wins, we're still fucked on certain levels. He still has a tendency to put people who do not have either his best interest or the country's best interest around himself. And he still listens to people that maybe he shouldn't be listening to.
Yeah. I
think he's clearly the better choice of the choices available, but I'm not as confident in him as I once was. I'm just not. You know, I don't want bad things to happen to the guy. I don't really want bad things to happen to Joe Biden too. You know, like he's compost non mentis, right? Like there's nothing we can do to him that his body and his loved ones haven't already done to him. You know? So yeah, it is what it is. I do worry about this new commission that Elon Musk is supposed to be starting up with the Trump administration, because here's the thing. If you have a bunch of 3-letter agencies running around causing havoc, right? And they're a problem. You know what the solution to that is? More fucking government.
Go figure.
That's what this is. He's like, I'm going to create yet another agency to keep all these other agencies in line. That's fucking retarded.
You know,
a wild static appears.
Hey, Static.
Hey, Static. Nobody ever talks bad about Woodrow Wilson.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Welcome to the show, Static. I'm just kind of...
You're so OCD, Sam.
I am. It's weird. I don't know why.
I jumped in here because you were talking about there's a lot of good conversation, and I had just finished up doing what I was doing. What was it? Oh yeah, you were saying like there's no one there's you just don't trust Trump.
Yeah.
Not like I did. Yeah.
Does him admitting
not like I did.
Does him admitting that he made mistakes his first go around change that at all?
No, it's not. So let me explain myself a little better. I think trust is the wrong word. I don't trust anyone in politics.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Right. I think I have less faith that he. Yeah, I have less faith that he is exactly the right man for the job than I did.
So for me,
but I still think he's a better choice than all these other guys.
Yeah, for me, when it comes to Trump, that was the first time I'd ever seen a president make a positive change in anything, like things that actually seem to be getting better, whereas every other president in my entire life has just been more of the same.
Right. I'll agree with that.
And actually a gradual decline with a ramping up after 9/11.
Sure. Yeah.
So Trump seemed to reverse. To me, Trump seemed to reverse a lot of that shit. No, he was not perfect. He did not meet a spending bill he didn't like. You know, he was the first one to sign $1 trillion spending bill, and there's an argument about that people have got where it like helped fight inflation or something. I forget what the argument was. It made sense, but I was like, it doesn't matter. He set the precedent.
Yeah.
He fucking set the precedent. No one else. The spending bills never go smaller. Like, there's nothing to that. But when he came out, he's come out and he said it several times that he made bad choices when it came to personnel, and he trusted the wrong people, and he listened to the wrong people. And when I hear that, I'm thinking, okay, maybe there's a chance he can clean out some of this shit.
What,
yeah.
Robot zombie he's been taken out and brought back by the people in Dallas that are waiting for RFK to come joining. Y'all remember that trash?
I didn't hear what you first said.
The Blue Anon, what was it, Blue Anon?
Blue Anon or QAnon?
I can't remember. It was one group or the other. They had this crazy conspiracy theory that CERN was going to open a portal to freaking 1969, snatch JFK out from before he got shot, and him and Trump were going to run. It was crazy, dude.
Oh, so QAnon thinks JFK Jr. is still alive.
Okay.
So they thought they were going to run together. Like
the only maybe so. The only reason I know about any of this is I came across somebody had made like a bootleg comic book and uploaded it, and it was all the stupid QAnon predictions drawn out and stick figures, and it was hilarious.
I would like to see that.
I would like to find it again. I don't know where I come across it. It was somewhere on Reddit, but
there's so a lot of your favorite everyone here, a lot of your favorite right-wing America First Twitter personalities are QAnon. They're all into the QAnon stuff. And I started really noticing that after with all the election stuff that went around last time, they were saying the same shit as the QAnon people. And it's like, oh, and then now I see a lot of them actually posting like QAnon posts, Q's posts. That was on the, what was it? Was it the,
and then Benny Johnson is stealing those posts from them.
Well, no. They're actually, they're posting what the Q person was actually posting on 8kun or whatever it was back in the day. It wasn't 4chan. It was something like that though.
So there was kind of an Alex Jones effect with QAnon, right? They were right about enough stuff that people were overlooking the stuff they were wildly wrong about for a long time, until a certain point after around the time of the last election, when shit just every QAnon prediction from like that point forward was dead fucking balls wrong.
Yeah, nothing's come from QAnon predictions.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, Yeah, they were convincing enough for a while and all that stuff. I mean, even I fell for some of that shit. And, you know,
Yeah.
I would like to say that that's, I don't know. I put that stupid. I fell for some of that shit. Not even I. Like, I'm not that bright. You know?
I do want to answer Andy Pickle's question. He said, ask the Arizonan if he trusts Carrie Lake. No, I do not. She came out
Carrie Lake's
saying
a politician.
Carrie Lake came out saying all that stuff about they're trying to like bribe her to not run and all this stuff. And we had no follow up on any of that shit. We don't know what's going on here. You know, they're talking about people making fucking hits and stuff in this conversation that she's having with the person who did step down from being the head of the RNC in Arizona. But like they were making casual jokes about people killing his family and shit if what she recorded got out. Nothing. So no, I don't trust Carrie Lake.
How long would the government have to shut down? Would government shutdown affect inflation? And how long would it have to be shut down to have that effect?
So that's a good
Indefinitely.
Because not everyone in the government stops getting paid. So I don't know how long that would take, because it is able to run at a limited amount. I don't know the details, but I know it can run at a very limited amount when they haven't reached their agreement on the budget or whatever. But I mean,
but correct me if I'm wrong. The only agencies that would be receiving funding during that time period would be like the FBI, the CIA, and any other black projects. Right?
I mean, the janitors usually get paid.
Maybe. Like, so I'm sitting here wondering, you're bringing
well, that's all dark money in the first place. We don't know where it goes, so it has to be taken from places that aren't publicly disclosed. And so just because the government shut down wouldn't mean you'd have to stop taking undisclosed money.
So, well, I'm wondering if there's anything that an executive order could do that would enable the money printers to go burr.
I don't know. I think we've seen before, like there haven't been like the kind of, every time they say, oh, the government's going to shut down, it's such a bad thing. It's, first of all, it's never for very long. No. I think the longest in memory for me was about like two or 3 months, back in the
90s,
the early aughts. Yeah, it was in the early aughts, I think.
I think it was Bush.
Honestly, the rest of the country was fine without him. Yeah.
Was that
the rest of us, we just kept chugging along and we were fine.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
I think so too. Yeah, they were trying to get the Patriot Act and they finally fucking got that to go through. And then they went back to work.
Yep. So, yeah, no, but the point is like that generally doesn't affect like civilian life much, right? No. Because honestly, we don't need them. They need us, but we don't really need them. Let's be honest about that. I guess so they go back to doing whatever they're doing. I don't know that would affect inflation. I think it might freeze it temporarily, but I don't know if it would really put a halt to inflation or reverse it or do anything positive with it at all. I think it would probably.
I wasn't saying anything positive. I was just wondering what would that do?
Yeah.
Would inflation? I don't know. I mean, thinking on it at first, you'd be like, oh well.
If they're not printing more money and putting it into circulation, it's not going to increase inflation, right?
Yep. Right. But at the same time, if they're not getting paid, I don't know where that goes. I'm not
if they're not getting paid, who's operating the printers, right? So yeah, like as far as I'm concerned, fucking chucked a whole lot of them into the sea.
Well, now the Federal
you'd
Reserve
like that, wouldn't you?
The Federal Reserve is not part of the government, Sam.
It absolutely is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, the Federal Reserve is not part of the government in the same way that the WF is not part of the government, in the same way that NATO is not part of the government, in the same way that APAC is not part of the government. They are. Or China, for that matter. You know, you think that spy was just taking secrets? She was also feeding shit to Swalwell.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, it's. I don't know. Like I think honestly, I think that Trump had the right idea about the wall. He had placed wrong. We need to wall off Washington, D.C., declare it a no man's land, and get on with our fucking lives out those people.
And California, because they're fucking up my shit.
Yeah, that too.
I'm pretty sure California.
And I'm not saying we shouldn't put a wall on the southern border, but I think we should put one on the northern border too, because fuck Canada.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. I completely agree. Who's
we
letting
have a schizophrenic neighbor?
Dude, Canada's been letting China run military drills in their countries for a decade, if not longer now.
Yeah. Even that at that side, like we're friends with Britain currently, right? But we weren't always. And this motherfucker to the north still has their royalty on Canadian currency. You can't trust people who do that. You know?
Yeah.
They claim to be a sovereign nation, but they're still part of the fucking British Commonwealth. Kiss my ass, Canada.
Also, when you are talking about the Geneva Conventions, it's essentially a list of Canadian events. It's basically a rewriting of Canadian history from start to finish. Like, well, we had to include this.
I have Canadians in chat too, so. Yeah, it is what it is. I think that we already have natural barriers in the east and the west. Right? Technically, the Rio Grande should be scourge people. It's a wide and strong river with a bunch of fucking nasty lizard-looking things, pointy teeth in it. But that's apparently not discouraging enough. So yeah, let's put a wall up. In the north, like there's nothing stopping people from crossing that fucking border besides the Mounties. You know,
there is a bit of space up there,
and the Mounties can be scary, but they're
no.
Yeah. So I just think if we're going to secure a border, we need to secure all of them.
That's what I'm saying. I agree with you 100%. We secure all the borders one at a time by adding states.
States.
New provinces and
right. We had this
Manifest Destiny 2, the manifestos.
Yeah, no, fuck Canada, man. To my Canadians in chat, I don't mean fuck you guys. I just mean fuck your country, because your country sucks.
Like
and you guys know that, or you wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it would be interesting.
So, yeah, no, I don't hate all Canadians unless you're Quebecois. Then fuck you too. Other than that,
I really like Newfies. They're like Canadians rednecks. I really like Newfies.
I like most Canadians. I don't really care for French Canadians because they're like the French, but they somehow think they're better than even the French, and they still have the British fucking monarchy's money name or faces on their money. Like, you can't trust those people.
One of the redeeming qualities of a Canadian is that it's not French.
Except the East Coast has.
Yeah, but no, we don't count any of that silliness because they are French. Right. So the best part of Canada is it's not France.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
there you
go. Everyone hates Quebec. Yeah, they should.
And they pretend like no one does. Quebec does.
Yeah, no, fuck those guys. But yeah, it's just. But we need to get our own house in order, somehow. And like shit keeps going the way it's going, and we end up devolving into a savage society where we're at each other's throats constantly. People aren't going to be coming here anymore. They'll be scrambling to get the fuck out.
Yeah, but where are they going to go?
Back home.
That's the thing. Like this,
I don't know, somewhere where we somewhere that hasn't learned the eating habits of Haitians. Because I guarantee you, Americans, like, you give us 72 hours and no fucking like internet and no electricity and no indoor plumbing and all that shit, we will be eating each other. I promise you.
Maybe that's
Well,
why
the
they're bringing all
cities.
the immigrants in, is so that when we have someone else to eat when it goes off.
Yeah, but that's my point. Is the immigrants are going to see what happened to the prior immigrants, and they're going to be like, "Fuck this," and then I'll go back to commie Venezuela.
I would like to clarify that will be the cities. That will not be rural America, because they've been living off the land.
I'll fucking eat you, motherfucker.
I'm not talking about you.
Eventually, people are going to be on that land that I'm living off of, and guess what?
It's going to take a hell of a lot of time for rural America to devolve to that. And you know it, if you're still there and your internet has not cut you off.
I'm still here. I
okay.
think that it would normally take a lot of time for that to happen. But I think that when people start fleeing the cities with those kinds of habits and tendencies, right? They're going to bring those habits and tendencies with them into the wilderness. And then you're going to end up in Mad Max world, where some people are eating people and some people aren't. And some people are just food.
Yeah, I was going to say that's going to turn into essentially the zombie apocalypse, Mad Max.
Now we'll get conquered by China before that.
Well,
I don't know if they'll want us after that. I mean, because we'll eat them too. I'm just putting that out there. Everybody in the world, you want to play this, like, this whole cannibalism angle? You want to eat the cats? You want to do all of that shit? I promise you, when Americans take up that game, we are going to do it 100 times better than you. You do not want to fucking start that game with us. Anywho,
I think so. Quickest way to that is we lose. Kamala wins the election, and we head into World War III. Which, I mean, we're pretty much there right now, but where we become more directly involved, and then we lose that war, and then I think we get conquered. We get bitch slapped.
I think there's certainly a good attempt at the conquering. I think the only way there's any real conquering of the American people, right? They're going to have to kill all of us, and that means bombs.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but there's no way the American people are going to submit, and they cannot win in a shooting war, on the ground. They have to bomb us.
Yeah.
You know, so it is what it is, and that's the thing. There's a lot of our nukes, right? We got that the whole MAD thing going on, the mutually assured destruction. Requires authorization to launch, but some of it launches automatically in the case of the enemy launching it, right? So shit gets launched to us to bomb us, right? They're going to lose people on their side too. It's not worth it for anybody. You know, at least that's the theory behind that. But I don't know. I don't know what I'm going on about at this point. I'm just like, fuck everybody. America's the best. And if you come to my country and eat my cats, I'm gonna fucking eat you. I don't even like cats. In fact, take the cats back to Haiti with you, as far as I'm concerned. You know. But you don't do that shit here.
I think you might have just sold yourself out there, Sam. I think you might like cats. Just a little bit.
I do eat a lot of Chinese food. I will admit that.
Don't make me kick you.
So the other day I told a story about my mom's favorite Chinese food place when I was growing up, and how there was a story that came out in the newspaper that they found cats in the freezer. The autumn moon was delicious, so apparently I like cat. It's some of the best sweet and sour pork I'd ever had.
Why I just had to hear that story for a second time It's beyond me.
Because it's funny. 'Cause it's a funny story.
I like
Don't make
cats.
me kick you.
I've had cats. I don't have a problem with cats. I just pretty
I've
damn
had
sure
cats
I ate
too.
them, and
I'm just never going to leave you alone with mine.
I'm not gonna cook it myself. I don't got the recipe.
You don't know that, Suka. You don't know that. And by the way, like I it's not that I've never had a cat. I've had cats in the past. They're all dead now, but I have had cats. The only one I actually liked, by the way, was an absolute bastard. And a murderous little minx. She killed everything in the neighborhood.
Well,
even
that's
shit
because it
that
was
was
a
twice her
female.
size. She was
Female cats
awesome.
are bitches.
Oh no! I think bastard applies here.
No. Cunt.
Yeah, no, that bastard is gender neutral. It's a gender neutral term. I mean, technically speaking, it simply means born out of wedlock. But
Yeah.
It's funny because Snow, my black cat, when I explain to people why his name is Snow, I say because he's a bastard, meaning the literal definition, not the modernized, of we got him off the streets.
Hmm.
And he's in the north.
The Great White North, eh?
It's a Game of Thrones reference, Sam.
I don't know why they still wouldn't sound like Canadians, eh? We could play some hockey.
It's North
have some
America.
beers,
All of us are on North America. Canadians
maple
and
syrup and
American.
pancakes.
I'm gonna-
Yeah, hosers. I don't get to do Canadian accent very often. It's
I
fun.
realize.
It's a fun accent.
Pain in the ass.
And it's totally ripped off from a movie called Strange Brew. If y'all haven't seen that, go watch it. It's fucking hysterical.
I haven't
Just
seen that.
take it with
forever.
a grain of salt because it's a Sam recommendation on movie.
No.
Yeah, before I started
John Candy and
talking
Rick
before you.
Moranis? Yes. Watch the movie. Wait, no, it's not John Candy. It's Randy Quaid.
Yeah, it's Randy Quaid, Rick Moranis, and fucking now I can't remember his name. Very famous actor. He played King Osric in Conan the Barbarian. Why can I not remember his name?
Wasn't Louis, was it?
No. He
What's
was
the
also
movie again?
Strange Brew. Max von Sydow. That's it. Yeah, he's in it. Or Sido or whatever. I don't know. His name's like Dutch or something.
Yeah, I don't remember. It's been so long.
Suka, do not start with that shit. I have heard so many fucking versions of that fucking thing.
Eat the cat.
Just-
Eat the cat.
I'm so tired. I heard this rap version the other day. I think Gala, it was you did posted that, wasn't it? Or was it somebody else?
It's
I
the
don't
marine
remember.
rapper.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that was nightmare fuel. I don't like rap music to begin with.
Uncultured swine.
I heard some
Not
reggaeton
uncultured.
when I woke
Not
up.
uncultured. And for the record, by the way, I've been hearing lately, and I'm sure there are other people who already heard this out there, but gangster rap was created by the CIA in order to destabilize black family life.
There's people who have talked about that meeting that went down.
Yup.
And it was to help.
Hell,
it
Ice
also-
Cube said some shit.
It also like helped promote private prisons.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of people in the prison industry that was a part of
Who
it.
were owned. Yeah, the same people who own the private prisons also own the record labels.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. So yeah, it's
Which would also make sense as to, rivalries and Tupac and Biggie and results thereof.
No, they were just killed by a fag. I mean,
Well, there's that too. I meant before.
Somehow we ended up getting back to Puff Daddy.
I mean,
Apparently,
you
he's
know,
everywhere.
he's had his fingers in everybody. I mean, every pie. No, I meant what I said the first time. Everybody. You know?
Yeah.
So there's my good friend Amira has brought some interesting stuff to my attention. So the feds and obviously the public are not the only people who Puff Daddy has to worry about. Apparently, he owes the Sinaloa cartel a fuckload of money for things. You know? Probably involving human trafficking, definitely
Probably.
involving drug smuggling, and probably guns as well. Yeah, I think that his being as famous as he is the only reason that they haven't skinned him alive.
I think we
And I think
talked about this before he was caught.
Did we?
Maybe
we
a
might
couple
have.
weekends. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that that only buys him so much time with them, though. Eventually, he's going to be made into a very, very public example.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's why he's in so much trouble with the law now, is because they're trying to find a way to like put him out of harm's way or whatever, because he sold them a bunch of fucking kids back in the day.
Well, what did he do to piss
Allegedly, YouTube.
I want to know what he did to piss everyone off.
Like, did he threaten to release names?
I saw a video where supposedly him releasing his guest list to one of his parties was like his way of like releasing names.
Yeah.
Aaron Laura, yeah, right about then. Which to them is not that big of an amount of money, but the thing is you don't owe them money, not even the smallest amount. Don't do it. You know, don't owe them a nickel if you can help it. You know, because they will always come for it. Profit above all things, including you know, the sanctity of life, obviously. Government plant handler, yeah, probably something like that. Yeah, he's probably got a bunch of shit on people in the same way that Epstein did. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up in a prison cell and the cameras, you know, mysteriously go off and the guards take a break.
He's already on suicide watch.
Yeah, he's already.
Of course he is. You know,
I was actually surprised that I didn't wake up today to news of the level of Jeffrey.
remembers the Big Mike is in some of the recordings. I wouldn't surprise me either.
There was like video. Oh my God. Have you seen where Obama is drunk? It seems the video of him talking all like with him and Diddy.
I haven't seen the video. I just seen pictures of them together.
Let me see.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen too much of that. I haven't looked a whole lot into the P. Diddy thing, aside from the obvious allegations, like the fact that he essentially groomed Usher, who then fed Justin Bieber to him.
Right. I like he was Usher's guardian.
Yeah. Usher was underage when he was discovered. Oh, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
Oh, I forget. Since I have power, it auto pulls that up.
Yes.
I don't know if you want to
Yes,
watch
it
it.
does.
Sorry.
Yeah, we can. Yeah. How long is it? About 30 seconds?
Yeah, 40. All right.
Give or take.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank y'all. Thank you. And I just want to say how much I appreciate Puff Daddy for doing the kinds of work that he's doing, because he doesn't have to do this. But this is part of what is important about giving back.
Since we applaud.
He sounds drunk to me, at least.
I think he had just gotten a blowy from Puffy before this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you, and I want to apologize for not sweating, but I do this so much. I'm so cool. I just want y'all to see everybody I'm interviewing is sweating.
Is that why Puffy always looks like he's got a mouthful of jizz?
I just like
take those balls out your mouth, son, before you speak to me.
the way that Obama took his suit jacket off at the time that Puff Daddy is talking about not sweating and how cool he is. It's so weird.
I'm not even touching my brow. I'm so cool. And I want to apologize. I ain't trying to make you look bad or nothing like that, but I'm just so cool. We t-shirt.
I tell you, if he was wearing one of those fancy designer clothes he's designing, he'd be sweating just like me.
That's the video, guys.
Yeah, I don't think he was drunk. I think he was getting blown while they were filming
that looked like
that looked like orgasm response.
Yeah. Like he had just finished and was having to work.
Drunk on something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe a little high. Maybe a little high.
That's valid.
But why did anyone just listening to what Puff Daddy said in that's probably how he normally conducted himself. He was just talking about how fucking cool he is. Why did anyone ever think that was cool?
Yeah.
Like, I never got into any of the rap hip hop stuff back in the 90s and the 2000s or anything. I didn't listen to the radio at all. Like I had nothing to do with any of that shit.
So I didn't pay attention to visual shit like that. I love rap, hip hop. I was listening to the songs, but I was never watching like the MTV type of shit that goes along with it. But I like to dance. So
see, I think a lot of rap is just absolute trash because they have nothing of value to say.
There is a lot of trash, yes.
I'd agree with that, except that I don't necessarily think that having a message is necessary for good music.
Right.
I do think that when they do have messaging, particularly in gangster rap, it tends to be the wrong message, and a lot of kids are listening to that shit, and it is fucking their lives up because they are making stupid choices based on rappers' lyrics.
I mean, I liked more of it being like Gangster's Paradise, where it's not actually condoning the stuff.
And see, I will grant you that song actually is pretty good.
That song's not bad
for what it is. Yeah. Coolio, I think, right?
Yep, Coolio.
But that's a little older school too than I'm talking here. You get into like the mumble rap era and the
fuck mumble rap.
Yeah.
No one.
It's just
that's not even in the fucking conversation. That does not exist. It is not. No.
I think it is.
Bad Sam.
I think it is because it's the natural progression of a shit music culture.
I can agree that every song doesn't need to have a message, but when the vast majority of the songs of a genre is about getting fucked up and fucking, you've got a problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that. I
gotta look at bands like Steely Dan and AC/DC, and I'm like, well, I mean, that's pretty much all they wrote about too.
Right. And a lot of the 80s stuff, the like hair rock and all that.
Kiss.
That was all
about.
It was about coke and banging, right? Like
see, rap to me is hip hop is more the dancing side of it, but rap is lyrical genius level of shit. Not mumble rap.
Yes.
Fuck mumble rap.
I'm gonna disagree a little bit. I know there are some guys who are very, very good at that.
From a talent perspective, I see what you're talking about. Talentlessly being able to string words together in a rhythmic flow. I can understand where you're coming from.
Even if most of them can't rhyme for shit.
It doesn't necessarily need to be. Are you kidding me? Poetry? More than half of that shit.
Yeah,
Okay.
and okay, that's fine. Poetry, they can call it poetry. You can't call it rhymes, and that's all I've been hearing my entire life is like, oh yeah, no, my rhymes. Except you don't fucking rhyme. Country music has the same goddamn issue where they stretch a fucking vowel to make it sound sort of like the next one.
You're so fucking
Not
right.
rhymes. That's all I'm saying.
Have either of you listened to Ripa's ANCAP raps?
No, I don't.
I don't
listen to his music.
remember them.
So they're pretty good.
Mhm.
They're not all great, but there's
Yeah.
some really good ones. And if you listen to Ripa talk about rapping and stuff, he talks about how like it doesn't always have to rhyme, and it's about the flow and all of this stuff. And like when you hear him talk about it, and then you go listen to his rap, you can kind of make sense about what he's talking about, how it doesn't have to rhyme at the end of every fucking line.
Yes.
And then if you watch like people who do reviews of raps, not just the reactions, but actual like people that know about rap, and they'll tell you how they'll match up the like rhyme patterns, because it's not a straight 4/4 necessarily, and it's got all these intricacies into it. Like I saw someone break down. Have you guys ever listened to Samson? I think Samson might be the best out there, talented wise. I think Samson is amazing when it comes
I have no
to
idea who that is.
putting. You might like Samson if you listen to any of that kind of stuff. He does this one song where he wants to fuck Nancy Pelosi.
How is that adding to the culture?
I mean, to be fair, Static was not saying it was adding to the culture.
Shock would, but Shock's a little blindsided, I think, by those Nancy bags. He's a little hypnotized.
That was like a one-off
swing.
He did like a bunch of COVID stuff and everything back in the day too, but and now he's just rapping to rap. Like he's done people like what's his face, Adam Krigler's buddy.
Oh, Flawdzilla.
Flawd like asked him to put some word in his rap, and so he's been doing that with like other people doing that, and then also doing like kind of like what's it called? I don't know, beef raps or whatever, people talking shit or whatever. I think I have a suspicion he might be going after Tom McDonald. I don't know.
Samson?
Yeah. But
yeah. Even that I like Tom McDonald's message for the most part. You know, I agree with a lot of the things that he puts in his lyrics and all that stuff. I don't really like listening to him because I don't really care for that genre of music.
Dude, he's got a diss track that is fucking.
Oh, I've heard it.
It's so good.
I've heard all of that stuff. I went down the rabbit hole a couple years ago trying to make myself like fucking rap, and it just I don't like it. I don't jive with it. It's not my scene. I'm not saying other people can't enjoy it. Gal, you got this look on your face like, how dare you? But
no,
you know, the fact
that's not
is,
at all my look. Like, I like all genres of music. So I'm,
you know, and to be fair, there's a lot of shit I listen to that people probably A, wouldn't peg me for, and B, wouldn't like if they did hear it. You know, I get that. You know, there's stuff that I like that nobody else does. I don't listen to most American music at all. I haven't for 20 fucking years. I got off the radio bandwagon years ago, and then I started branching out into other countries' music scenes and that kind of thing. So I listen to a lot of like what they call symphonic metal, for example.
Damn it. I just saw a meme about that the other day that I was literally just thinking about. We're like, it was found that like people who listen to metal and classical music are found to have a high IQ, and then it's all like symphonic metal listeners reading this, and it's like they're all galaxy brained.
Yes.
Well, here's the thing:
Metallica, the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That shit is gold.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying is like when they did S&M with the San Francisco Philharmonic back in like 1996 or 7 or whatever, that album because I wasn't aware of a lot of shit at that time. But that album opened up an entire world of fucking music for me. I got into Apocalyptica after that, which led me to some other bands. I started listening to a lot more music coming out of Finland and Norway, and Holland, and the Netherlands and all that shit. And it expanded my fucking universe. So I will always be grateful to Metallica for that album, because it opened a huge world to me. Yeah, it's really cool.
Do the orchestra stuff because that dumbass isn't fucking singing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I haven't been on the Metallica bandwagon in some time. Frankly, I think they peaked in terms of studio albums with Load. I don't think it's been pretty much downhill ever since, and I think even a few songs on that album are pretty downhill. But they did open my eyes to some shit, and then later I got into some other stuff. I started listening to action operas as well. I grew up on classical music, so like Tchaikovsky and on and off and that sort of thing. I like big music, if that's not coming through very clear. It's like I like grandiose stuff, you know. So like listening to Metallica devolve back into the garage band they started as, right, was really fucking hard for me. It is disheartening because garage band music doesn't do it for me. You know? So,
I still love the garage band stuff. Like, yeah.
I did for a while, and there are some that I will still listen to for nostalgia's sake, and there are some other genres that I've been getting kind of into that aren't quite so grand. Like, you guys know who Kaleo is?
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, I recognize it.
Yeah, they're an Icelandic band that does sort of like just really interesting mixture of like blues, bluegrass, and blues rock that sounds like it could have come from fucking the heartland of Kentucky, but it doesn't. It comes from Iceland. They did a song that's really famous called "Way Down We Go." I'm sure you guys have heard it.
Yep, I recognize that too. So yeah.
So I've been listening to a lot of their stuff. They're really good. And it's not quite on the same scale as the other stuff I was mentioning, but they're very talented.
When I say that I listen to all kinds of music, whenever people, I'll bring it up that I love the Who, and you know who everyone thinks I'm talking about, and I'm like, oh well, yes, that.
Yeah,
Who.
I had that exact argument the other day. I can't remember if it was on a fucking stream or if it was on my personal life, but yeah, it got brought up. Oh no, it was my sister's dad at a cookout we were at. Like, oh, you know the Who, right? And so we're sitting here and we're thinking like the 70s rock band. Okay, yeah. And this guy who's fucking 30 years older than me has been talking about Mongolian throat singing metal.
It's glorious. That shit
it's good.
I love it. Wolf Totem.
It's primal. Yeah, it's primal. Like if you like that shit, I would also recommend a band called Heilung.
I'm pretty sure. So I have a Pandora station I titled it something gay because I'm a chick, but it's a bunch of like Viking fucking music. What was the name again?
Heilung.
Sam?
Heilung.
Yes. Yep. They come up all the time on that station. Yeah.
Yeah. Particularly Kriegsgalder.
Wardruna.
But
Scald.
Yeah, that one's
Heilung. Nesso. I'm just looking through.
Yeah, Heilung is awesome.
I can't pronounce this one. Fulgicha Huthork. But yeah, like this station is one of my favorites to just listen to whenever the fuck. Sometimes I have stations for specific moods, but that shit is like the visceral, the Northman type of music.
Yeah, it makes you want to get on a Clydesdale and hack some fucking heads off with your backs.
Yes.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Like I want to sail the high seas with my Viking brethren.
Yeah. Dude, do you know who Ailstorm is?
Yes. Absolutely.
Pirate metal is the best metal. There's a song out there for those of you who are unaware. and that we may have even talked about this like in the very, very early days of Screaming Into the Void, but there's a song out there called Fucked with an Anchor by a band called Ailstorm that is one of the most amazing pieces of music that I have ever heard. It is offensive in every sense and hysterical and very catchy.
We've talked about it on recent Screaming Into the Void.
Have we?
Or maybe just random phone calls. It could have just been random phone calls.
Yeah, it might have been, but
they're blurring.
Yeah, it's a great fucking song, Fucked with an Anchor. For context, it's about a pirate who gets cursed by a witch doctor so that everything that comes out of his mouth is foul and horrible, and he doesn't like living like that. So to get revenge on the witch doctor, he gets a crew together, he sails to the witch doctor's island, and they sneak up behind him and shove an anchor up his ass sideways.
And this is Sam, everybody.
It's fucking wild.
I wish that too, Suka.
I just got a really catchy chorus. I don't remember all the lyrics from the top of my head, but it's like, fuck you with a fucking anchor. Good stuff. I think this is probably a good place to end it.
Yeah.
In the show. We're over 3 hours. It's been a while since we've done one this long.
God damn. How? Last I looked up was 2 hours, 21 minutes.
Well, we've been enjoying the show, I think. Yeah.
As we do. Yeah.
Just hanging out.
Yeah. Hey, that's what we're here for, baby. I do so much enjoy the way it goes, and we did get to most of the things that I wanted to cover today too. So that's even a bonus. That's a rarity. That almost never happens. So, yeah. But yeah, I appreciate everybody who's come by. I'm going to probably do the best I can with Caucasian Sasquatch's intro. He had to dip out a little bit ago, and I just never took him off the screen. Go sub to his channel. You people who are already on his channel, definitely follow him there. But he's got shows with Captain Curmudgeon called The Blast Radius. He's got shows with AJOT called The Naughty Corner. He does Sasquatch Shills when he has people on. He does a few other things. What's that monthly show that he does? I forget the name of it, where he talks about, like, basically how to be a better YouTuber.
Let's see.
He's mentioned it like a dozen times on his outros, and I can't remember what he calls it.
It's not After Dark. Presents?
No. Not Presents. Although he does both of those too, but he's on a variety of other people's channels.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, Suka, he stole that from you too, by the way. Or from Amira, rather. But yeah, your video for The Naughty Corner was the inspiration for the name of that show. Yeah. So yes, we're shills. We're shill. You mean the show Sasquatch Shills? Yes, he does that. But I'm trying to. It's not the Shills show. It's the. I can't remember the name of it. He'll probably correct me at some point. Anyway, go watch his stuff. He does good work. He does weird esoteric work, and for some reason is finding some meager success that way. So, more power to him. So that said, Static, what do you have coming up?
Got Saturday Chatterday here in about an hour and 10 minutes or so. Hanging out with Dermy, the Renaissance nerd, maybe Gal if she shows up. See what other secrets of Cloud's personal life we can find out.
Happily.
I'll be streaming Stick of Truth. So you can look out for that. And then Monday Night Bloodbath at 7 p.m. Pacific on my channel. That's where we're going to talk politics. I haven't looked at what I've got lined up. I've got a bunch of bookmarks, but yeah, we'll see where that goes. And then Thursday for the weekend pregame. And that's about it.
All right. Sweetness. Gal, you know the drill.
I do indeed. Follow me on the Twit and the Instagram and all those places, Rumble, YouTube. I do Cook in the Books every Wednesday now. The time has changed from Thursday to Wednesdays, but the time of day is still 6 p.m. Mountain Time, where I take the book list collecting dust in the corner and read it to you so you don't have to.
Yeah. And we're on to something that doesn't suck this time. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We're doing Journey to the West. Sorry, I did forget that. We just did the first chapter and a preface in opposite order of how I just stated it last Wednesday. So go back and watch that, and then you can catch up for this coming Wednesday. And that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody else who comes and goes on this show, all of their just links to their YouTube channels are in the description below on my channel, so you can find them there, and then wherever else they might be is usually linked. Thank you all for coming. As far as myself goes, I might be on Exile Lioness 2 tonight if there's a stream. I don't know if there is yet. I don't see one up yet, but there could be. So yeah, check that out tonight. We'll be on probably talking about the second attempt again. And then on Monday, I'll be on Adam the Renaissance Nerds channel, Mellow Mondays. Usually with Devil Made Me Do It, I think he's there with us this week. I think he's with us this week because he alternates. Sometimes he goes over to Bloodbath on Static's channel as well. And then that's pretty much everything till Friday. We're having guests on Friday for Abyssal Musings because it's quiz night. So we're gonna have some fun with that. And then Beelzebub after that. God, I sound so fucking tired. I'm trying to get this shit out. It's like there's this rote in my head that I've got to go down this list of stuff, right? And it just, I'm kind of, your mouth goes on automatic and your brain's just like, why do I sound like this? This is retarded. Right? Anyway, y'all know where to fucking find me. You're here. You're here. I've already said all the things. Go to all the places. Follow everybody else. Follow each other in the chat. Whatever. And enjoy life. Enjoy YouTube. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate all of you guys. Have a great night. And remember, it could always be worse. It could be raining flaming cobras. Night, everybody.